Hey everyone, and welcome to CommanderCast, episode 308. We're your weekly source for community strategy and technology, hosted on CommanderSociety.com and our home site, CommanderCast.com. This week, I know, it's funky. We have a whole website. It's pretty impressive. I mean, I don't want to brag.
It is.
I don't want to brag, but I kind of do.
I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah. Oh, and as long as you're at the top of the show, I do have to apologize because I just learned how feeds work, like, recently. And I messed up our feed on iTunes. So any of our iTunes listeners, I apologize. And I'll tell you the reason. It took me a good, 2 hours to diagnose it. Apparently, I had just put too many spaces at the bottom of one of our posts, and it cocked up the iTunes feed. That was it. I was trying to diagnose it. I'm like, what did I put in there? It says, too many characters, or, it pops out this HTML language, which I am... Yeah, whatever. So at the very end, I'm just like, well, what if I just hit backspace a couple times, and then I redid the feed? It was fine. So I apologize. 306A and B were not meant to come out 2 days before another. And last week, I think 306A came out on Sunday and then 306B came out on Monday. I mean, it's nice for conciseness, I guess. Right before. I'm glad that A didn't come out after B. So that was good. But yeah, and I guess I didn't figure that out.
Right.
So, yeah. Bear with us, folks. Anyway. So, folks, at the top of the show here, this is where we usually do introductions, so I should probably introduce Adam at this point. Adam.
Hey. I'm Adam.
That's good. Hey, I'm Mark.
All right,
man, we are knocking this podcasting thing out of the park already.
I'm on the cast. I'm part of the podcast.
Yeah, and we're casting right now. I am the casual scrub who doesn't really know how to play the game, but I do the podcast. So Adam kind of has to have me on. And that's nice.
Yeah, I mean that's an important facet.
That is, yeah. So that's
it's a good qualification.
Yeah, that's not. I want to stress that I'm not good at the game. I do like talking about the game. It may or may not be accurate, so just grain of salt, people. And Adam, you like playing the game?
Yeah, I do like playing the game. I played this week, and I entered the Great Designer Search and did not get selected. Sadness.
Aw. That's kind of cool they were still doing that. I didn't actually realize that was going on again.
It is. I mean, I think it was 5 years since the last one. So, I mean, they probably wait until they have a good opening that they don't really need to fill immediately, and they can turn it into a bit of a spectacle.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was cool. The questions were hard.
As you would expect.
Yeah.
Did they give you a test, we were testing, going for Jeopardy or something? You have to, I don't know, get this much on your SATs?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the questions I don't think were hard, but, you had to have a near perfect score to get in, so I definitely did not feel that confident about it. I felt like I was, I got a solid B, maybe a low A on it, but not near perfect.
Hey, Adam, I don't think you should feel bad, man. You know what they call the guy who finishes last in medical school? Doctor.
Yeah.
Just saying,
It's true.
Not that
they don't call me card designer.
All right, fine. That kind of shot that metaphor out of the water, but that's all right. Hey, as an example, I don't want to give away WotC's secrets. Can you give us a generic example of a question that might be on there? Because I'm actually genuinely curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now they said you're allowed to talk about the questions openly. Now that everything's been submitted. But the questions were anything from here's a 5/5, menace with trample that costs 6, what rarity should it be? Or if you were to take an ability off of this, what ability would you take off of it? Just things like that.
And those are questions you can get right or wrong?
Yes.
Huh.
Well, for example, so there was one that was a threaten effect.
Mm-hmm.
And at least to me, it felt like a gruel threaten effect. There were multiple questions on the same card. I think it cost 4 or something like that. And it was a threaten, and it got +1/+1 and trample and haste.
Okay.
Right? And they were like, okay, well, what ability would you be least likely to remove? Or what change would you be least likely to remove? And they gave a whole bunch of options, and one of them was replace haste with double strike. And that's clearly the answer.
Mm-hmm.
You would never make that change because it's a sorcery speed threaten effect. If you remove haste, then why would you need it to have trample? And you're not blocking on your turn, so why would you be stealing their creature just to steal it?
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
So I mean, there is a logical progression to some of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them feel to me anyway, and I could be wrong, but some of them felt a little bit more subjective. But most of them were pretty objective. And some of them you could even find the answers in like old Marrow articles.
Ooh.
Because it would be like which one of these things is, a red profile least likely to say.
Mm-hmm.
For his thing where he like describes what red is about, and it basically like has half of them written in there. It's like, okay, well, they're likely to say those. Yeah. So
that's interesting.
And you were encouraged to do so. You just weren't allowed to discuss the questions and answers with other people, while it was going on.
Okay. And how long would they give you to do it? Like, did you have...
The multiple choice one was 24 hours.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. So that's really kind of clamping down.
Yeah, 75 questions, 24 hours.
Ooh, okay. Interesting. I had no idea. I like that people want to be game designers. I would never want to do that job.
Oh, I would love to do that job.
I don't know, it's interesting. Like, I play a lot of games. I play a lot of video games, etc., board games. I never want to design them. Like, that's not what I want to do with my life. Like, I play them to kind of like, to escape or to find enjoyment other than what I do. Like, I feel like if I knew how the sausage was made, it would make me enjoy the sausage less.
Yeah, no, I mean, like...
That's a personal thing.
Everything that you hear about working at Wizards, there's a lot of like playtesting and designing and brainstorming. It just seems like I feel like I would enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would want to be one of the what is it, the development team, where they actually like start tweaking mana costs and stuff like that. Like I would want to be more in the creative side of things than the like minutia,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I would like to, how I take this back, I wouldn't want to design things. I would like to write flavor text.
No.
That is something I would totally dig. So, yeah.
Which I don't know who does that these days. Like, I don't know if it's the people who write the stories or what.
I believe, and I might be totally wrong, but I believe it's if not freelance thing, it's a contract basis.
Okay.
They had a guy, I can't remember if it was on the Command Zone or Commandering, they had a guy who wrote that. Guy who named the cards and guys who write the flavor text.
Right.
And it was like a contract thing. So, which is interesting. That seems neat. So.
Not my bag.
It's not my bag, baby. Sorry, that was bad.
Anyway. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Super Bowl Sunday, the Pro Tour is on.
Yes, all these things are true.
Going on these days.
Yes. There are games on top of games on top of games. So
we have 3 spoilers as of today for Magic 25 or Masters 25.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
I have not been paying any attention to that, but I will now click on these. Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Azusa and Phyrexian Obliterator, and they did something interesting. You can't see it on Jace because they didn't do it on Walkers, but they put the what's it called? The watermarks of the original set that they're from in the background, so you can see that on Azusa.
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool. I really like the Azusa art.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I want to say that's promo art. Like there was already an Azusa with that art.
Maybe. I mean, it doesn't look. They didn't change at least the other ones. Phyrexian Obliterator, which is I want to play that card way more than I do. Like I own several copies of it because I just opened a bunch of copies back in the day from New Phyrexia. And it's I don't know. I think it's really good. I just never end up playing it. And then even when I do, it gets removed. So
somebody said to me, because I was like, that card's really good. Why would you not play that? And they were like, why would you play it? Like, yeah. What benefit does it actually have? And I was like, it's a 5/5 and it makes them sack stuff. And they were like, yeah, it's a 5/5 with trample that makes people sack stuff. So it's a 5/5 unblockable? Great.
Yeah. Yep.
Bad.
And that's essentially what it is. I put it in like a really derpy mono black deck that I just put like derpy mono black shit that doesn't have I like just having collections, sometimes decks that are just collections of ideas that don't fit other places,
Right.
like cards that don't necessarily, like there's not like a theme to it necessarily. It's just that it's like, I don't know. So like I have a Phage mono black deck, right? Where I just throw in shit that I like. It doesn't really do much, but I'm just like, this card makes me happy when I draw it. So, and sometimes that's all I'm looking for out of the game. So like if I draw Phyrexian Obliterator and I'm like, I'm gonna make dude sack all the permanents. And like that's in my head. And then when I play it, I'm like, I just have a 5/5 unblockable. Alright. I'm like, that's okay. It's fine. You know, whatever. I'm kind of good with that. I don't actually own an Azusa, so I'm kind of looking forward to this.
Neither do I. Yeah, I need one too.
Yeah, I would love to buy one. I don't give a shit about Jason Mind Sculptor, but good for people who do. So, I don't know.
I mean, I already have one, so I'm not
it
worried about
will drive up prices of Masters 25. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what is it that we're talking about today?
we're not talking about the Super Bowl and Card Designer Challenge. That wasn't the topic.
No, I mean those weren't the scheduled topics, but that is actually what we're talking about.
Okay, all right. So this is the de facto versus what we're doing. All right, so we're actually talking. Yeah, we're actually talking about group hug.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is gonna be good. This is a longish intro for this, but yeah, once we come back from the break, we're gonna talk about some group hug. We're talking about hug. We're just all about like loves and cuddles today. You know,
for Valentine's Day.
Sure. Yeah, that's the thing you do on Valentine's Day. So we're going to do that. You can keep up with the conversation, which may or may not actually pertain to group hug, much like this show, on Facebook and Twitter. And then stick with us after the break, and we will talk about hugging some groups at a time. Like, how many people could you fit your arms around conservatively? Answer now. 5. I'm going to say 5.
I mean, it depends on the size of the people. I can't do this.
All right, fine, whatever. Damn you and your logic, Adam. Well, come back with us after the break, folks. We'll talk about hugging a group. Yay. Hugging a group.
Sometimes you get arrested for that.
That is true. I mean, you should always get permission before you hug people.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's best.
It's a thing. Yeah, it's funny. There's a
Seems like an awkward question though. Like, hey, can I hug you?
It is. Sometimes people are.
Now that you ask me.
Sometimes people are huggers and you don't know it.
No, you should. You really should ask for a variety of reasons. And
no,
yes,
you
some
should.
people are
Yes,
just not huggers.
That is also true. One of the things I like in my district, what they do at the end of the year, they have a nice little celebration ceremony for everyone. They want to honor people's work, with teachers and staff throughout the district, and like that's really cute. And so they have this is a thing that's been started by a couple of superintendents ago, I think. So they have 2 lines at the front. There's a line for people who would just like to shake hands, and there's a line for people who hug. And
interesting.
It's and like the administrators kind of break down that way. And it's nice because it's like a little, small town district, whatnot. So you can either go up and you can get a hug, and because some people are really down like that, and then you can either go up or you can shake hands. And it's a nice little in-between mix. I like that.
It is. Yeah, I like it.
The superintendent last year decided he was going to implement also the chest bump. So you can go out and get a chest bump. If you want. And that's, yes, your reaction is about 99.9% of the staff's reaction. But it was implemented as an option. It's kind of like when you go to a buffet and, I don't know, there's like the Jell-O at the end of the buffet. And you're like, this is a Chinese buffet. Why is there... Okay, whatever.
I always get the Jell-O.
What is wrong with you, man? You never get the Jell-O.
I get the Jell-O and the pudding, and I eat them together.
Ugh. Wait, you don't mix, do you?
I do a little bit.
Adam, I don't know if we can be on the cast anymore. I don't know if we can do that, man. I just don't.
And with some pineapple.
All right, yeah, we're definitely moving on to Community. So. Woo! In Community this week, ladies and gentlemen, why would you ever want to hug a group? Like, mass hugging sounds like a good thing in theory, I think. I don't know that... I mean,
Doesn't it sound like pedophilia? Like, I mean, it just sounds
I don't know if I was going to jump right to that. I was thinking more Care Bears, But if you want to jump straight to sexual assault, I suppose we could do that. That's not where my head was at, but that's... whatever.
I mean,
maybe it's where that's the way the world is at. Maybe that's where my head should go.
That is the problem, right?
Yeah, maybe that's where 2018 is. And unfortunately, like, I can't go back and pretend. Like, I know the 1980s were not like this, but I like
27, you were just allowed to grab people by things and get elected president. So 2018, maybe group hugging is allowed.
Yeah, I guess. I don't. Adam, I was excited about this topic until this intro.
So what this says is that you can have a polygamous relationship and hug all the people you want for Valentine's Day.
Okay, I'm good with that. We're gonna bring it back to happy things. So
yeah.
Real quick before we move on, since it's Valentine's Day things. Have you ever encountered someone who, when given a box, say you just might, I don't know, have a box of chocolates as you give and receive on Valentine's Day. Do you know a person in your life who is like the sampler? Which is the nicest way of saying this. Like they kind of take. Yes, they take a bite. They take a bite and then they put it back.
No, because I would knock that person out. Like, what are you talking about? Take a bite and put it back.
Yes,
That's your chocolate now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just gonna bite of it. Get it out of my face.
I'm not gonna mention names. I have someone in my family who's a sampler.
That's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. It really isn't. So Valentine's Day occasionally gets very contentious around my household. For that reason, I may have stopped giving chocolate because of that. I was a random thought.
No. That's no.
It's not hygienic. Also,
I really thought you were going in a different direction. I thought you were going to say, "Have you ever had a box and you cut a hole in that box?"
No. Nope. We're not. No, we're definitely not going that way. No, we're not. So you could Google that. Not at work. Please, for the love of God, not at work. Just don't look up SNL sketches at work sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, we were going to talk about cards at some point.
Yeah, let's talk about cards.
Let's talk about some cards.
So, like, the topic is, so why group hug?
Yeah. Why would you? I don't understand this topic. Like, in theory, I do, and the only time I've ever played this, I'm even less qualified this week to talk about this topic than I am about Magic in general, because the only time I've ever played a group hug deck is the 2016 Precon.
Precon, yeah.
Which is amazing, and it was totally fun, and I'm like, this is, before, I was, very biased against, I've said this before, I'm like, why the fuck would I want to play group hug? And then I played it, I'm like, wow, this is really fun. And it makes me want to play it, and I've never gone back to that well, but.
So, I mean, to me, group hug is almost not even really a strategy, other than it's a bluffing strategy. Like, the entire thing is just a veiled attempt at like, keeping yourself alive for a longer time than most other people so that you can kill them.
Okay.
Like, you're not like, actually winning through the group hug strategy. You're staying alive through the group hug strategy because you're winning people's favor. So you're more like playing the politics of it. And then you have some win con at the end.
That's why, I mean, just to clarify, because again, I'm not very good at playing the strategy, nor do I have a ton of experience doing it. I would imagine that you're aiming for the number 2 slot in order to knock out the number 1 eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Or just like have everybody at a kind of like leveled out, like at 10 life or something, so that you can just blow everybody out. You know, like that's how I see it.
Okay. Not super successful.
You're basically trying to manipulate everyone into doing your work for you and keeping you alive.
Okay. I mean, I'm down with the manipulating of players. I'm totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but your end goal is not to just continue hug.
Yeah, continually hugging someone isn't the way. I mean, unless you're like
the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Unless you're like Lenny, from I was about to say Grapes of Wrath. That's not Grapes of Wrath. I'm a terrible English teacher. But yeah, you don't hug people to death.
Oh God, why can't I remember the name of that book?
I know, that's the thing. I'm just like Steinbeck, not Grapes of Wrath. Why am I failing at this? I have a degree in this.
Oh Jesus, I actually can't remember.
Of Mice and Men. Sorry, Of Mice and Men. My bad. There was like 30 seconds of no one like that. So
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, now there is some logic to playing it in slightly different formats. If you play a multiplayer-ish format, like Emperor with Commander decks or something like that, then Group Hug makes a lot more sense to be strictly focused at Group Hug. Where you have realms, spheres of influence and things like that, and you could basically be feeding your teammates cards so that they can do the job.
That does make a whole lot of sense. Yeah.
Right. But in normal, just multiplayer EDH, where there's no teams involved, then yeah, I mean, you have to eventually have some kind of win con that you're getting to.
I mean, nominally, collusion is frowned on. Like, that's why trade secrets is banned. Right. Right.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. Could you collude? Does it happen if you're like at your LGS and you're like the new person there, and you jump into some play group? Like, yeah. I mean, like there's a level of that, but yeah, you should be playing a friendly game. This isn't competitive. Let's just see who wins.
Sure.
Hey, this person let me draw 15 cards this turn. I'm gonna not kill them just in case they do that again.
Yeah, and there are definitely times when like I don't know. I think it's, what's the blue card out of 2014? I think it's Intellectual Offering. Well, I will play that card and I will just say, I will pick a person who I know has been targeting someone else who might be targeting me, in a pod, and be like, look, you and me, we're going to draw some stuff and put down some permanents, and then with the understanding you're going to attack somebody else. And like, that's a, like a temporary alliance, I guess. So,
yeah. And I think that's all this is. It's a constant string of temporary alliances. Because at a point, you and the other players hit critical mass where it's like, sure, I guess I could draw more cards, but I really have the game in hand anyway, so I don't really need the group hug player anymore. So you have to win before that threshold.
Yeah. And, like, I guess finding that threshold would be key to playing group hug. This is something I would need to master if I played more group hug. And I would guess that, this is somebody's favorite strategy out there somewhere. So if it is yours, and, like, you guys have whoever is out there listening and has a better strategy for group hug or something, I would genuinely like to see that. Along with deck lists, too. That would be kind of neat. Hey, side topic here.
Yeah.
Did EDH Rec, like, stop its association with Tapped Out?
I don't think so. Why?
Because I don't know, recently, and this is a side topic, obviously, but, I was looking up, different group hug decks, obviously, in preparation for the show. And most of the stuff was going to, like, deck stats or something else, or, like, MTG Goldfish, which is interesting because in the past it was almost exclusively Tapped Out. I understand they want to, like, widen their algorithm, but I was actually having a hard time finding Tapped Out decks.
That's interesting. They may have, but they definitely were using it for their database for some amount of time.
Definitely when it started. I mean, it was almost exclusively Tapped Out. And
right.
I mean, spoiler, like, I'm a big fan of Tapped Out, so,
As am I.
Yeah. But anyway. And, like, I just don't like deck stats. I mean, I know some people really love it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their favorite deck builder, and I'm not gonna, begrudge anybody over,
Yeah, I mean, Adam, don't you build most of your stuff in spreadsheets?
Yeah, when they get formalized, I put them on Tapped Out. But yeah, when I'm just building, like brainstorming, they're all on spreadsheets.
Yeah, and see, like, spreadsheets, I think, give me hives. So I typically send to stay away
fair
from
enough.
it. Yeah. But whatever, teach their own. It's cool. But moving back to the group hugginess, is there anything else that we should cover about, like, why you would, or maybe a strategy for it? This is not a strategy segment, but I think because group hug is such a community-oriented strategy, it made sense to kind of, break our own little rules here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the motivation is really rooted in whether or not you like a more political game. You know what I mean? Like, like people want different things out of the game. Some people want it to be more political. Some people want it to be more straightforward and just everybody plays. Some people want it to be more chaotic and play those, like, completely chaos decks. All of which are viable because that's where the actual personality comes into play. And I can appreciate a group hug strat, mostly because it's kind of a value engine.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I love the group hug player. Oh, love is a strong word, but I really appreciate the group hug player, mostly because the group hug player fuels my strategy and normally doesn't win.
Hey, you know what, Mark? It's 2018. You can love them.
Yeah, I mean,
you can love.
I'm just, it's not whether it's right or not to love. I'm not calling that into question. I'm just saying I probably don't feel that strongly about it, me personally.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm like, I want to, but I don't. It's kind of
I don't
like,
feel that strongly about anything, really.
Like, is this
maybe the band list?
Okay, I don't know. I was starting to get worried. This is like an existential thing. Like I don't know. Like you just kind of like watch car crashes to try and feel something. Is this it? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've just embraced my existential nihilism. So.
Okay, I mean that's a choice. I don't think that's probably healthy, but what do I know? Yeah. I'm really trying to remember. There was a guy who was playing a group hug strategy last time I was playing with the precons. This coming out, and I was playing the kitty deck. That was not good for him to feed me even more of the things I already liked. Like that.
Yeah, you want to be careful about playing against aggro players.
Yeah, like there are definitely things that do not match. Like peanut butter and chocolate totally go together. Like peanut butter and what's a hideous thing I've seen people put peanut butter on? Peanut butter and mayonnaise. Peanut butter and mayonnaise sounds hideous. Peanut butter pizza I've seen people do.
That sounds horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peanut butter mayonnaise. I want to say it's like a Midwest thing. Peanut butter mayonnaise and even lettuce on it.
I refuse to believe that's a thing that humans eat. I don't.
Look it up. I'm not joking.
I don't believe that. I mean, the mayonnaise on.
I've tried it.
Well, why? Dear God, why?
I mean, they were trying to convince me it was like amazing, so I tried it. It's not the worst thing I've ever had, but it's not good.
Look. I've done the mayonnaise on French fries thing. That's an abomination before the eyes of God. But I've had it.
Have you done the purple jelly on Scrapple?
Yes, actually.
That's disgusting.
My old man, my dad and my family, I think specialized in hideous combinations of food.
Yeah.
One of my grandfather's favorite things to eat was, grape jelly on salmon fish cakes.
Oh, God.
And that was like his favorite thing. And it's hideous. It's horrible.
The opposite of a group hug, people. So,
Yeah. But anyway. Moving back to this.
short answer to why play group hug. I mean, I think you're just trying to play a more political game, and I think that's, it just comes down to that's how you want to have fun. And a lot of people really do enjoy it. And it also does generate a decent amount of value for you because hopefully you're gearing everything up to go faster for you if you accelerate everyone.
Yeah. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we kind of covered our bases with community. Again, if anyone has something they want to chime in with, why you want to play a group hug, or maybe even like suggested strategies for this, because this is actually something I do want to get into. Like, I think all of us probably have like that deck or some of those decks that we'll bring if we're going to an unfamiliar LGS or if we're playing with people that we're not super familiar with. Like, I think group hug is the natural go-to for that. That's not my natural go-to. Like, my natural go-to is like dirtily dumb. Like, I have a stupid blue-white merfolk deck that I burn out because it offends no one, But if you're looking for that inoffensive strategy, I think that's a big hallmark of why someone would want to play group hug.
Mine is mono blue combo control because I want to put people in their place right from the beginning.
Ah, okay. So mental note: don't play with Adam. Gotcha. Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, like, for me, it's always like the dirtier the better. I shouldn't say that. I should mention, like, Dirtles is bad to bring to a group you don't know because you don't want to be that guy who's sitting there and topping every turn. When I say Dirtle, like, just dumb fucking deck. I have dumb decks that I bring with me that I like to play.
Honestly, if I play with a new play group, I think I usually start with something that's a fair creature-based kind of toolbox deck. I think is the best. Like, just in case they are kind of out of hand, like their power level is higher than I thought. I've got board wipes, I've got artifact wipes, I've got, and then I have a strong creature base to go into things, and, that's usually what I go with. So I can control how out of hand it gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a lot of crazy effects, not a lot of rules based, you're not. Yeah. You're not throwing like an opalescence on top of a humility and, trying to call a judge over. That makes sense.
Like Nekasar or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Do you think Nekasar decks are still a thing? Just a side topic. I haven't seen one in a long time.
One of the people in my play group has just started to build it. I think that they'll get over it after they play it for a while because it's fairly boring to pilot.
Yeah,
it either goes off or it doesn't go off. I mean,
I like that idea that 99 cards out of 100 that someone's playing the minute they put a Nekasar deck. It gets old. Whereas I don't think group hug strategies work that way. Even though when we get to strategy or technology, rather, like it's pretty easy to see which ones are huggy and which ones are not.
It's true. So
anyway,
yeah. Speaking of which, let's take a trip on over to Strategy Land.
Yay! I think that worked as a transition. I liked it. I liked how specifically Mr. Rogers it was. I like that. I can imagine if I had a sweater right now, I'd be taking it off.
I mean, I did just take my shoes off, so
there we go. Well, hey, we're there, man. All we need is a small puppet on a train. We're fucking there.
That's all we need. All we need is a small puppet.
In strategy this week, ladies and gentlemen, how to hug a group. How to hug a group most effectively. I mean, you want to start with your arms wide. You don't want to come in too fast.
Right, absolutely.
You
want the pressure to be appropriate.
Yeah. I think when I go in to hug someone, I think the most important thing is to never break eye contact and start from a long way away and just stare them down as you're hugging them. It really helps to set the mood.
Also, make sure that you don't thrust your pelvis out. You want full contact.
Yeah. Why is it that every subject disappoints me in 2018, Adam? Like, why every subject?
Wow.
We just can't... I don't know. There's nothing that doesn't make me sad for the world in 2018.
And back to existential nihilism. This is a great Valentine's Day.
I'm just saying, like, everything, even fucking laundry detergent makes me despair for the human race now, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's just Darwinism. Let's move on.
Yeah. Anyway, group hug things. Let's start off with some group hug commanders. I think the most obvious one, and the one that I think, I don't know, top of the heap has to be Kineos and Tiro. Like,
yeah.
right?
Kineos and Tiro seems to be, I mean, Wizards, I think, was designing a group hug deck and just nailed it. I mean, like,
just
as
so
far
good.
as the commander goes, like, it's 4 colors, so you can play all kinds of group huggy cards. It doesn't have black, which is fine because there's not really group hug cards in that color. And they're great. They generate they're group huggy, but they generate more advantage for you than everybody else.
Yep. So it fixes like that howling mine problem.
Right. Yeah. They're great at just like preventing people from attacking you because a 2/8 body. I mean, that's, going to hold off a good amount of things. Yeah, they're fantastic. I really loved that design. Everything about it. We didn't read it at all. I don't know if we need to.
Yeah, we probably should do that thing.
Yeah.
Let me see. I got it up. So, Kineas and Tiro of Miletus. Important. I should have added that to the list.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it won't probably show up. Legendary creature, human soldier, 2/8, which I don't. I get like a 4/4 for 4 is fine. I don't think I've ever seen a 2/8 for 4, but I really like to see more of that. I don't know why the power and toughness.
They're each a 1/4.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really dope. Awesome. I just like that one. So anyway, there's like so much that works on this. Like there's so much of this card that works that I really dig it. Anyway, at the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. Then each opponent who didn't draws a card.
Yep.
It's super simple, real easy 2 sentences, right? But it's very elegant.
The only part that people don't get sometimes is that you draw a card regardless.
Yeah. That is true. They kind of skip over that first one.
Did you choose to draw a card? I don't have to choose. Like, I'm going to draw a card.
It doesn't say may, it doesn't say, it's just draw a card.
Yeah.
Right there.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, this card is fantastic. This is one of my group hug decks.
It's so good. I mean, it's going to be my group. Like, I have a shell put together of it, but I haven't played, aside from the pre-con, which I did keep together for a long time because it was just fun to play out of the box.
Right.
It's really, really good.
And this is, I mean, the strategy that I go with is not necessarily what everybody goes with, because this had a built-in win condition. It had treacherous terrain in it.
Yeah, great card.
In the deck, which is a great win condition for this because you're basically telling everybody, play all the lands you want. It's fantastic. Ramp, go for it. And then you kill them with those lands, which is a great late game win condition. And I love that card. It's not how I run the deck. My deck is built around, all of the show and tell like effects, and then all of my creatures are basically Eldrazi Titans and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have everything that lets everybody put out stuff for free, and then I just annihilate them.
That's also pretty good. So
yeah. So it's group hug only in that. I mean, like there are a few template discovery and things like that in there, and Kineas and Tiro is definitely in there to help ramp and draw. But most of it is not. Again, I think it's more of like that veiled strategy. Like, oh look, it's group hug. I'm gonna let you play stuff from your hand. Everybody can play free stuff. My stuff is way bigger than yours, FYI.
Just FYI.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're fun. They have a lot of different. Basically, any group hug strategy that you go with works with them.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the fun part too. Like those decks. I mean. Those series of decks in general were amazing. But their flexibility was also their strength. That's why they're going to be around for a long, long time. So I dig it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So next up is Zedru the Great-Hearted. Zedru is 1 red, white, and blue for a 2/4 legendary Minotaur monk.
Sure.
he's a minotaur, but he's like an ibex minotaur instead of like a bull minotaur. I don't know. It's weird.
The monk is the most exciting thing about this card to me. That's going to tell you a lot.
Oh, yeah. I love this card. This is my actual second group hug deck right here. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanents you own that your opponents control. And then you can pay a red, a white, and a blue control of target permanent you control.
Sure.
So it donates and it draws and it gains life. And if you wanted a little bit more control-y build, where, you can do a lot of exchange control of things and, gaining life, drawing cards, just kind of a little bit more draw-go version of group hug, Zedru is kind of there for you. It's not always group huggy. I mean, people can make it a little bit more oppressive, but and there's also just like interesting tricks. Like, I'm going to cast a banishing light on your thing. Here you go. You can own the banishing light.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really, so you could also make it like a little bit more enchantressy. But this is known to be somewhat group huggy because you are giving stuff away.
True. You're normally not giving out things anyone likes, though. Like,
yeah, I mean, sometimes you are and sometimes you aren't. I mean, you don't mind like giving a creature away to somebody if you know that it's not coming at you.
I guess. I don't know. This is just like, to me, Zedru's like the worst regifter ever,
Yeah, absolutely.
Give you random shit. Like, here's a pen someone gave me a long time ago.
Right.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm not.
But it allows you to play like that. What is that, like 2 casting cost monk that draws people cards? And then you have to like give it to somebody afterwards?
Oh, yeah.
Card is amazing in Zedru.
Yeah, and he's red too. It's one of those few like red draw cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that one too. Dang it. I don't know. I can't.
That's all right. I'll figure it out.
All right. I got confused because I really quickly Googled, or I was doing the red monk.
Right.
And then Carrie Zev, Skyship Raider, popped up. And I'm like, what the fuck? She's a pirate monk? And I'm like, oh, that's dope. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's a monkey. She gives a monkey. That's a lot less. That's not cool.
Monkey, not the same. It's a humble defector.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, Humble Defector is amazing. And actually, Humble Defector is in that deck, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. It's in the K&T deck. Which was great in that deck too, especially with Homeward Path.
Yep.
But anyway, so
let's talk about the next one. The next one we have up is Corona False God.
This one is interesting to me because I get conceptually how this is a group hug commander, but it's more like just a chaos commander to me. But I don't know.
It is a little bit of a chaos commander. This I played against somebody we were doing a tribal league, and he ran this, and he's like, all right, well, everybody's going to get real big teams on everybody else's turn. So Corona's a 5/5 for 1 and Wooburg, legendary avatar. It has haste. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps Corona False God and gains control of it. When Corona attacks, creatures your choice get +3/+3 until end of turn.
Is it bad that I just want to play Avatar Tribal with Corona?
No, it's awesome. I just want to do that.
I think Avatar Tribal is a thing I would like to do. Advisor Tribal is bad, but I think Avatar
Tribal is definitely going to be bad.
Yes, but I think Avatar would be kind of dope, especially in color.
This one is to me the loosest of the group hugs. I mean, you are giving them a 5/5 every turn. Okay.
That seems bad.
And then, they can pump up, in most cases, unless they happen to have a tribal deck, in most cases they can pump up, maybe 2 of their creatures? They giant growth 2 of their creatures or something. Which is also good. And that benefit itself is incentive for them to keep you in the game.
Okay.
You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to get a 5/5 on my turn. Okay, I mean, I don't mind making a deal with you that I don't kill you with your 5/5, if I get to have it again, so I can take somebody else out. Yeah, so it does pan out to be that. But it's a slightly group hug commander that I don't think really strategically shoots for group hug.
Yeah, which is why, again, I don't see it. I don't know, I don't see it as a group hug commander. But maybe it's just because all the Corona decks I've seen are really more like chaosy, like Child of Alara decks. Like they're just kind of meant to fuck you over. Like it's not group huggy. But maybe that's just my,
Well, yeah, I mean, it depends on how you build it, obviously.
Yeah.
It is slightly drawn toward group hug because it does benefit your opponents, but it is not the most group huggy of them.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we got down here? And the next one I really like is also, this is like a theme. This is also in the K&T deck. Selvala Explorer Returned. Is like, I've just been meaning to build this deck. Just in general, because I've seen a couple really cool examples of this recently, and this is a fun deck. I've seen a lot of different builds of this, a lot of different ways you can get there. I just want Parlay to come back as a mechanic too, because Parlay's kind of dope. Fucking everybody likes this when you play this. Everybody.
Yeah, I don't like Parlay. I like this card. Parlay in general, I was not a big fan of, but this card I do like.
This card, this card is one of those things. It's like it's real hard to hate on this card. So
yeah.
Anyway, so Selvala Explorer Returned is one colorless, a white and a green. The legendary creature Elf Scout, 2/4, and the Parlay mechanic on it is to tap it. Each player reveals the top card of his or her library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add 1 green mana to your mana pool, and you gain 1 life. Then each player draws a card.
So yeah, I mean, people want you to activate this just like they want you to activate Temple Bell, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like people constantly are like, okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll keep Selvala alive, you know. But at the same time, it's giving you more advantage than them.
Yes.
You're getting mana, you're getting life, you're also drawing the card. You're giving them the card draw too. But that's just incentive for them to keep it alive. It's not really going to, do anything else, which, I mean, the card draw is, you know, giving your opponent's card draw is something you have to mitigate. You know, you have to make sure that you have a plan for all the things that they're going to be able to do, which hopefully the extra mana and life is part of your plan.
Yeah. If you're just like, man, it's cool to get that extra life there, but you're not really doing anything with it, like this, you gotta have to be a little more proactive, I think. But sticking around, like this is definitely a commander that will stick around.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that is important to your strategy, go for it. If not, I mean, it's just kind of cool to, I don't know. You can do a lot of really neat things with this, and I've seen a lot of cool decks, so I'm a big fan of Selvala.
I like it a lot. I think it's good, and I think it's a really good choice for group hug because it does exactly that. Gives you a little bit more advantage than everybody else, makes itself stick around, makes them to a certain extent want to keep you around, you know, unless you're getting really out of hand, so that you have a chance to, you know, manipulate things and do things that you want to do late game.
Yeah. I actually just realized that I lied when I say I've never played another group hug deck, because the next general, I actually played, I would say extensively, but I did play a good, like, dozen or so games of it and lost every single one. Real hard. Real hard, too. But man, Braids Conjure Adept, that's right up my alley. Like, yeah. So anyway, Braids Conjure Adept, 2 colorless, 2 blue, Human Wizard, 2/2. It has the thing, I just can't stop myself from this. I can't stop myself from doing the dumb things with this, Adam, and that's why, like, if I was a better player, I think this would have been better. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put an artifact, creature, or land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield. So the thing I would do with this is do dumb shit that would try and give me an extra upkeep step, and then I'm like, well, I can put 2 Eldrazi down every time you put 1 big thing down. And that sounds really good in theory.
This type of effect is basically how I win with Kineas and Tiro. Like, Braids is in there. I love these, like, show and tell type effects. Like, let's just keep going with it. I'm gonna play all the things out of my hand. Love it in Kineas and Tiro because before you have something like Braids out or show and tell, you're like, I'm just gonna draw all my stuff. Oh, look at that. That's 10-10. It's 12-12. You know, just keep stacking your hand. And then play this out. And hopefully you've developed more card advantage than them. So you can just keep dropping and dropping and dropping, you know, over and over.
Really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. I would like to be able to play this deck and then resist the urge to do dumb shit with it. I'm not going to. And then
no.
Spoiler.
That urge is meant to be there.
Yeah. Spoiler, like, giving everyone the ability to put an artifact, creature, or a land from their hand into the battlefield. They're probably not going to pick the last one. And the first 2 are really going to break your back. So it's not good. It's not good for you anyway, but man, this is a lot of fun. I remember playing this. I didn't even care that I lost. I would routinely lose if I got this out turn 4, I would say by turn 6. So
Right.
it was bad.
You start feeling real bad when people are when it gets a little bit later though, and people are like, "I'll play a Sakura Tribe Elder for free," and you're like, "Cool. I'm gonna play a Mindslaver."
Yeah, one of those things is way better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, what do we got for the next one, Adam?
So the next one is Edric, Spymaster of Trest. So for 1 green and a blue, you have a legendary creature, Elf Rogue, 2/2. Whenever it deals combat damage to whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may draw a card.
Yeah.
No, like, people know that they should get rid of this and never want to.
Yeah, there's that. It's one of these things you should kill on sight. Like, you should immediately kill this on sight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you that you probably should, because it's pretty busted.
Yep. It's almost
odds are.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, odds are the person who's playing Edric is trying to go wider than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Not even with a lot of damage, just with lots of dudes. So everybody's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I like this. I'm gonna swing at you. I'm gonna draw a card. Woohoo! Okay, I'm gonna swing with 20 dudes. Okay, you block half of them. Great. I'm gonna draw 10 cards. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna win the game now. We good? And I think that's where this is more of like hug. Like, I don't think it's you build this sort of group hug, but you use some group hug cards. Edric itself has some group hugginess to it. There's the offering, whatever the green offering is, that gives like, oh, I'll give you 5, 1/1s or whatever it is, and I'll get 5 1/1s, and I'll give you a big dude, and I'll get a big dude. So it can definitely be played in something like that, or alongside something like that. I think the white one makes dudes too, doesn't it? Yeah, so Sylvan Offering. And then, what is the white offering?
I got it right here.
Benevolent Offering, yeah.
And it makes some white flyers. So
Right. So both of those can... White one, he's not white. Derp. But the green one you definitely, play in there.
Yep.
Like, hey, you can have some dudes. Look, you'll be able to draw some cards. I'm going to draw some cards too. I'll probably kill your guys next turn. Don't worry about that. Ignore that.
It's also true.
Cyclonic Rift is not a card. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, and Cyclonic Rift's like every blue commander's best friend, but I think especially here, right? You can just get so many, you don't need to listen to a podcast for us to tell you how amazing this card is. Like, it's really good. This is definitely a tier 1 commander.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in 1v1, it's supposed to be actual tier 1.
Yeah. I mean, in 1v1, is it restricted in 1v1? Or there's something going on?
It might have even been banned. I don't pay attention to 1v1 rules all that much, but...
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, what is it, French Commander?
Whatever, I don't know. Any commander format that bans Soul Ring, I'm not down with, so... I'm just...
I mean, I would argue that it should be banned in regular Commander.
This from the person who hates on the ban list, but...
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. Adam, you're a collection of eccentricities, and
that's how I like to keep it. So for the next two, we have everybody's favorite purple winged hippopotami.
Fucking, why does this defeat my ability to spell it every single time? I mean, I know it's because it's ridiculous.
Oh, I wouldn't even try. Like, it starts with phlegm and ends with griff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think I just like questing Feldergriff more because it's so ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's actually, is it objectively the better of the two?
I mean, we should just kind of read both of them anyway, right?
Yeah. So Feldergriff, I'll take Feldergriff if you want to do questing after.
Yeah, I got you.
So Feldergriff is a 4/4 Feldergriff, legendary creature. For 1 and Bant, so 1 and white, blue, green, and it has 3 abilities. Green, pay a green, it gains trample until end of turn, and target opponent 1 hippo creature token. Pay 1 white, it gains flying until end of turn, target opponent gains 2 life. Pay 1 blue, return it to your hand, or to owner's hand, and target opponent draws a card. So the reason these are considered a group hug is because a lot of times people will use these, especially early game, to mess with the board and what's going on. Like, oh, you need a blocker? Okay, I'll pay a green and give my guy trample, even though it's not my turn and trample doesn't matter, but you get a 1/1.
Yeah.
can manipulate the politics in a lot of different ways here. But on top of that, it does give Feldergriff evasion.
Mm-hmm.
It does, make him almost, never have to go back to the command zone, because you can just bounce it to your hand.
True.
So and I always think of Feldergriff as the original group hug because it's not really all that powerful on its own.
No, it's not.
And it is intended to, it gives your opponents, advantage where they did not have it. It either gives them a card, life, or creatures, which are all good.
Yeah, the thing that I can't kind of wrap my mind around is this came out in alliances, right? It's actually never been reprinted either. So, I don't understand how this one, pardon the pun, flew under the radar for R&D. Is this just they're just Bob in the back room, Bob, all right, fine, we're gonna give you the winged fucking hippo, man. Whatever. Do your thing with the winged hippo. Try not to make it mess up standard. Go for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think this is kind of the one-off, somebody owed Bob a favor, and then Bob is calling it in and Feldergriff.
I think during alliances, the problem that you would have had is casting it.
Yes. Because what did you have? Soul Grail? I'm trying to think.
No, your fixing was a little bit better, right? You would have had in that standard, you would have had Fell Warstone available.
Okay.
And you would have had the Pain Lands.
Sure. All right. You're right. I forgot those were alliances too. So it's a possibility.
It's possible to cast, but I don't think that the advantage was really there. There were faster, better options.
You think?
Yeah.
Also, because Feldergriff does not have flying on its own. You have to give it flying, which is, it's on theme, right? Because
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just physically,
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Questing Feldergriff, I do like a little bit better, so I suppose you should read that too. I also now realize why I've never really liked Feldergriff is probably because Amy Weber did the heart. So, and then Matt Cavada did the Questing Feldergriff, and it's much more majestic. So
it is, but it's not as purple.
It's true. I'm kind of down with that too. But anyway, Questing Feldergriff has the exact same mana cost, except they updated it a little bit because it's plane shift, so they swapped they swapped the order of the band colors. Whatever, I don't care. It's still a 4/4 without flying. Pay 1 green. Questing Feldergriff gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Target opponent creates a 1/1 green hippo creature token. Pay a white. Questing Feldergriff gains protection from black and red until end of turn. Target opponent gains 2 life. Or you pay blue. Questing Feldergriff gains flying until end of turn, and target opponent may draw a card.
Yeah, and that's just worse.
Do you think?
Yeah.
How is it worse? What, because of protection from black and red?
Well, okay, so the protection from black and red basically translates to the bounce it to your hand, right? Except because it's the protection one. It's the one that's protecting it.
Sure.
But it only protects it from 2 colors instead of just bouncing it to your hand, and that's just completely protected. The flying, so for it to get evasion, you have to give them a card draw. I'd much rather have the evasion, they gain 2 life. Especially if I make somebody who's not the opponent I'm attacking gain 2 life. And then instead of, and then the +1/+1, instead of trample and they get a dude. All right, I'm going to pump this to a 5/5. You get a dude. Oh, you just chump block it? It's much better to give it trample and then give them a 1/1 and they can chump block it and they still take 3.
Again, I will call your attention to the art. So.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that is the leg you're going to have to stand on.
Yes. Yeah. That's the Feldergriff I'm standing on. So I'm good with that.
Yeah. But no, regular Feldergriff is better.
Okay. We're going to agree to disagree on that one. It's fine. So.
It's also worth a lot more. So.
That's not really hard. Feldergriff is still, it's one of the rare rares from Alliances. It's actually worth something. Well, I take that back because the Pain Lands are going up too. So I'm sure there's probably something from Alliances I'm missing, but a $4 card from Alliances is actually rare enough to be important, I suppose. So, what do you got?
Unfortunately, is the second time that I have to do this.
What's that?
Force of Will?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, Force of Will.
Yes, Force of Will is a card that exists and is good.
Yeah,
I understand.
And it's from Alliances, and it's worth a few
fine.
dollars.
Jesus, just fucking Force of Will. This is how little, obviously, I think about Force of Will, and I've never had one, and I never want to. So, it's a great card. Don't buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, next up is I don't know. This was on a list that I found of group. I'm not feeling it, but whatever. We'll go with it. So if High Arcanist, 5, a blue and a white for a legendary creature human wizard 3/5 with vigilance. And tap to untap target attacking creature, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and dealt by that creature this turn. And it has to spend 4 for a blue and a white. Yeah, it's a Maze of It that's really expensive.
Yeah, maybe just not play that.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Maze of Ith has a very strong place in group hug. Because, again, it allows you to make those where you're getting really political. Like, well, yeah, I mean, I can stop you from dying here because I'm going to just untap his 10/10.
Well, I mean, it has a strong place in Commander in general. Like,
yes,
so,
agreed.
Yeah.
But this guy, not so much.
Yeah, I don't want to pay 7 for my for my less good because it's easier to remove Maze of It. Yeah, like that's not Even if you suspend him for 2, like now I have to wait for my Maze of It. This isn't helping.
It's real bad.
It's real bad.
Yeah,
he's got
vigilance. Don't do that.
Also,
I don't think that white blue are the best group huggy colors. I mean, I feel like you really need green in there in most instances. I mean, blue's not that bad, but white's not that great for group hug.
Yeah, I mean, this guy I think would go better in a. I mean, I suppose you could put him in like a pillow
in
fort.
a bulk box,
like a Guatha Hazid, you know, and like maybe I guess.
No.
But he's not even good there. Like he's just not good. Like just don't play.
It's not.
I'm going to go on a limb here, Adam. I'm going to say one of the ways that you win is by not playing bad cards. It's crazy. I know it shouldn't come from me.
I don't know. I mean, I win sometimes, and I definitely play bad cards.
Yeah. So can we just skip over this guy?
Next up is one that I think is super good.
I really like Nin the Pain Artist
as group hug.
I don't either. I don't play her as group hug. I have a Nin the Pain Artist deck. It's still really good. Anyway, Nin the Pain Artist is a white and a red. So she's also super cheap, and a very playable 2-mana commander, who came out in the original Commander, as a matter of fact, and then was reprinted this year. So, she's a legendary creature of Vulcan Wizards, so 1/1, and you pay X blue and a red and tap it, and then the Pain Artist deals X damage to target creature. That creature's controller deals X cards. Surprisingly, I mean, she's a very political deck, which I really like. You know, like her and Stuffy Doll are like best friends.
Yeah.
And there's lots of really cool stuff you can do with this. Like, I like putting like a bubble matrix in this deck and just going to town and mitigating that and doing all kinds of stupid things. I really like Nin the Pain Artist. I think it's a neat way to play. So.
Yeah, I mean, I almost think of it more as like a control shell than I do a group hug. I mean, yes, can it be used to blow up their creature and give them 5 cards or whatever it is? Yeah, I mean, it has that effect sometimes, but I don't think you're usually relying on it for that. If you're using it correctly, you should be drawing a lot of cards.
Yes, that is the way it should work. But you can also, you know, I don't know. I've seen people...
if there's something really troubling, then you can definitely take care of it.
Yeah, I've seen someone try and do a mill shell around this, and that was interesting. Was not super successful.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great.
No. I mean, one of the interesting rules things about this is that even if the damage is lethal, the cards are drawn before the creature is destroyed. So you can't, and it's not optional. So like the person has to draw those cards. It's kind of like forced fruition in that sense.
Yeah,
so if your thing is to make someone else draw cards, you know, like in a Nekuzar shell. This is also like, this is the thing I used to play before Nekuzar, and then Nekuzar came out. I'm like, oh, this is just better for that strategy. So I had to change it.
But then exactly, I mean, then you're just in a control shell.
True. Yeah.
Where you're control mill, where you're just like, okay, you're going to draw 10 cards, you're not going to be able to cast anything. Move on. You know, like
yeah.
The next one. Let me talk to you about the next one.
Dude, okay, yeah. You can make an argument for the next one. Not for the last one on this list. Fuck the last one on this list. Just 100%. But, you can totally make an argument for this one. Go for it.
So the next one, Kami of the Crescent Moon, is blue legendary creature spirit for a 1/3. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Alright, let me tell you how this works.
Okay.
You start off with, you get to cast him for 2, and you get to cast him for 2 off of blue. So the only time you ever cast this guy is when you don't have a counterspell in hand.
Okay.
Because you've already started off with the best board state in Magic. Blue.
Okay.
Then, you basically find a way to lock down the board. Let's say something like Frozen Ether, Stasis, and Chronotog.
Okay. This
and
is
then everybody
bad.
draws out their decks twice as fast.
Yeah, this is not. I just don't know.
Yeah, because it's mono blue. You see how it's good.
I see how it's overpowered. Yes, I do, and I see the.
No, I mean this is a
horrible-
Howling Mine on a stick. Like you can definitely build this as a much more casual, much more group huggy type thing, using things like intellectual offering, where you are actually giving people other advantage, using prosperity, stuff like that.
I've seen
I think
people build.
eventually your win con is still something like a forced fruition,
Yeah,
but you can do it a little bit more casually.
True. I've seen people build tribal spirits with this, like blue,
Oh, God,
mono blue
stop it.
tribal spirits. So, and it was actually kind of fun. So,
I can't even. Can't imagine. That sounds as bad as Segway.
okay. Are you making a segue? Or are you talking about the segue?
No, you were supposed to say Gahija.
Oh,
I
okay.
said that
My bad.
sounds
No,
as
that is a fucking train wreck. So that's fine. I mean, we can talk about
Yeah, it was.
Gahiji Honored One if you wanted to. This makes me sad every time I look at it. Right?
It's not that bad. It's really not that bad.
It's really not that
I know
good.
you guys have like this unnatural hatred for it.
I
But
fucking hate this card, and I will read it, and I'll
Not that-
fucking read it the entire time. So, Gahiji Honored One, for some reason, costs 5. He's a 4/4. Fuck you. He's a beast, which is relevant. Some reason, Naya Beasts. He doesn't even make the cut in my Naya Beasts deck. Whenever a creature attacks one of your opponents or a planeswalker an opponent controls, that creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Mostly because he's just amped up and pissed that this is even a card. Like, I do not like this fucking card, man.
I mean, like, what's bad about it?
Okay, so I grant you this is not rational, but that's fine, because human beings aren't rational anyway. But I remember being so angry playing this when Commander 2013 came out, and I was just angry at Commander 2013 anyway. And
Well, that's a different story
and
altogether.
that deck wasn't very good, but it's like, it's related, right? It's like if, I don't know, the only time you ever had ice cream was like if a bully pushed you down and spit in your face, you'd have some kind of negative association with ice cream.
Yeah.
You know? Even though ice cream on its own is very good. Gahichi's not ice cream. So, anyway, I can see a use case for him. I can. That's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Just like I can see a use case for a Segway. But people who actually drive Segways make me angry. So, I don't know.
Fair.
You know? So, it's not like I'm saying he's totally useless. It just causes irrational anger to well up in my mind, in like that reptile part of my brain.
To me, this is the aggro equivalent of Edric, right? Like your goal is still the same. Your goal is incentivize other people to attack your opponents and do your job for you. It's meant to
Sure.
be a political tool.
Sure.
But at the same time, you're able to play things like Woolly Thoktar and whatnot, you know, and you get the advantage off of them also. Or Godsire, you know. Whereas Edric is going to lean toward a much more, you know, kind of like elf ball / control strategy.
Mm-hmm.
This lends itself a little bit more to, you know, either mid-range or aggro or something like that. Where, you know, you can go tokens, you can go wide, you can eat, but you're trying to kill people and you're trying to kill them quickly. And if you can get somebody on your team doing it for you, then, you know, hey, that's even faster. So, I mean, you know, I feel like it's very transparent, similar to Edric, like where a lot of people, you know, Edric at least draws you cards, so people are more incentivized to do it, even though what they should do is attack you immediately.
Yeah.
I think that they're like, my attacks are just a little bit more profitable going away from this person, but what they should do is attack you. So it sometimes can blow up in your face, but I mean, I don't think it's that bad. It's also a fine, like, budget commander for Naya.
Ugh, there's so many. Like, just do Mael and go to town. You know? I don't know. I feel like I don't know, what does this incentivize? Like a goad strategy? Sure.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually.
You do? Why? Wasn't supposed to be.
I think Goad is, like, way underutilized. I love Goad.
I think goad is neat, but I don't want to do anything with it. Like, I don't know, like I wouldn't want to play that strategy. There are many strategies that are underutilized that even I won't play.
I could definitely see that, though. I mean, there's not a great number of Goad creatures. I'm not saying, like, it's, you know, amazing, but Grenzo is amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
To Goad stuff and to get card advantage. And Disrupt Decorum, I honestly think is way underutilized.
What?
I think it's really good.
Oh, disrupt the quorum. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of goad more than I like goad, but hey, whatever. What do I know? I don't know. And I just would not play Gahiji under any circumstances. But that's just me.
Oh.
So, so we've kind of wrapped up the commander segment.
You will.
Okay, that's not.
One day.
Like, really? Come on. Like, why would you just not play Marath?
I don't know, but someday I'm definitely gonna try and work for Wizards, and I'm gonna like commander decks be Naya, and they're all gonna have Gahiji in them.
I just don't. There's so many better things you could do with your life. You know?
Are there?
There are. There really are.
Is the individual trolling of a person for an irrational hatred of a card not at the top of that list?
It's probably. It does kind of remind me of, like, recently this week, I think somebody just lost the top slot of, like, getting the top score in a bunch of Atari games. And, like, they had this whole thing, like, you know, they had the top score for a long time, and they thought it was an unbreakable record for Atari games. And your fucking claim to fame was that you had the top score in Atari games? What the fuck are you doing with your life? Come on now. You know?
Atari's awesome.
What are we doing? What are we doing? This is when I would have to stop someone. You have to have an intervention at that point. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? How many hours of your life did you just spend doing that?
What you're doing is hurting the people around you.
Yes. Yeah. You know? Like, just seek help. It's okay. Like, everyone needs it. Everyone goes through it. And that's why there's no, you know, it shouldn't be a stigmatized thing. It's 2018. You know, talk to somebody. It'll be fine. And then stop playing fucking Atari games. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Yeah. So, long story short, stop playing Gahiji because it fucking sucks. And then we're going to segue into technology and talk about some cool group hug stuff.
Yeah.
By category, even. Yeah. In the interstitial, I should probably finish categorizing these things. Because otherwise, I have this irrational fear that we're going to talk about something in the wrong category.
Oh, all right then.
I mean, that doesn't really matter, but I kind of want to do that. You know what also bothers me?
What's that?
That when I Google collective, there's so many other things rather than join forces. So I'm gonna have to not do that and put join forces in the rules text. So.
Yes.
And most of those cards are kind of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, Collective Voyage is still all right. Like I like Collective Voyage.
Was it the Minds Aglow? Is one of the?
Yep, Minds Aglow is definitely
not collective cards. They're the. I've recently started to hate Minds Aglow. I like that card is just not good.
Do people just play that a lot around you?
No, not a lot. But every time I see it, I'm like, oh, God, this is bad.
You know, I don't like the fact that aglow is one word. So.
Is it not in real life?
It is. I just don't like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't really have anything beyond that.
I mean, isn't it similar to like alone? Right? I
suppose, but aglow looks stupid. So
right, but I mean, it's like in a state of being lone, in a state of being
glow. Really?
Well,
really?
I mean, you get the idea.
Yes, I know. I don't like the idea though. Like, I get it. I understand what it's there for. Are we going back to the segue thing? We're going back. Like, I get what a segue is used for. It's just fuck that shit. No, man, no. I can't support this. So that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I would go with Alliance of Arms before that. You know,
I don't even know what that is.
That's the other joint forces. You pay any amount of mana and you put X 1/1 soldiers out.
Oh, it must be white because they don't know how to design white cards. Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, you could say the same thing about red, but like Mana Charge Dragon is wicked cool, even though that's not a group hug card, so I couldn't put that in this list.
No, but it is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of dope. Shared Trauma?
What does white do? We need a white card. We need a white version of this. It makes...
Wait, hold on. Yeah.
You get life.
Or...
No.
Or... wait,
makes 1/1s.
Yeah. Or,
okay, there you go.
Hang on, guys. Have you heard of this creature type? It's called Soldier. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan. Yeah. And I feel like there's other things here. Come on, we're categorizing things here. What's Horn of Greed?
Draw.
Yeah. You don't like Horn of Greed?
No, I said draw. That's what category it is.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that is draw.
Yeah.
Oh, are you doing this too?
I am now.
Okay, I should stop doing that at the same time then.
No, it'll make it more interesting.
Yeah, just everybody edit at the same time. Fucking chaos.
Oh, we should definitely send this out to all the people.
Beep. Okay. I like Gearpor Ori.
I don't. I did, and I had it in a couple decks, and I have now come back around to I do not like it.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, it just never works out for me. Oh, you already had those in there. Okay.
Yeah. And in group hug technology this week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off because, surprisingly, there's an awful lot of cycles that kind of work into group hug. So we're going to break this down by category. First off, we're going to talk about a few cycles of cards, then we're going to go down and by category talk about ones that give out resources, ones that help you out with mana and land, other ones that just give you dudes popping off, and then some one-off weirdos at the end that I like. So
yep.
The one-off weirdos I will take full responsibility for. So. But anyway, let's start off with the cycles. Adam, should we try to do this in like alphabetical order or any kind of order?
However you want to do.
All right, I'm going to alphabetize these things because I learned how to do that. So let's talk about the hunted cycle first. So hunted creatures, and we don't have to read an awful lot of these. I think we just have to go through a few.
No, I think just the concept behind the mechanic is sufficient.
Yeah, and we're really talking about the ones from Ravnica. So most of these nicely are contained within one block. So, for instance, Hunted Horror is a neat little card. Yeah, Hunted Horror is a 2-black 7/7 horror with trample. But of course, and this is the thing, like you get a really cool creature, and then your opponent gets some kind of mitigating factor here. So normally real bad to do in a 2-player game, because that's not good, especially this one. Like when you get a 7/7 black trampler, but you give out 2 3/3 green centaurs with protection from black. Right. That's not good in a 2/2. But if you're in a multiplayer game, like, kinda who gives a shit? Because it doesn't mean those 3/3s are coming at you. So, right. Anyway, I kinda give it away anyway, but it has trample. When Hunted Horror enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2 3/3 green centaur creature tokens with protection from black. There's a Lamasu, which is apparently its own creature type. Sure.
Yep.
Where an opponent gets you get a flying 5/5 for 4. This is not as good. And then a target opponent gets a 4/4 black horror. There's a Hunted Phantasm, which pops up. You get a 4/6, which is a spirit, which would go in that, Kami spirit deck, by the way. And then your opponent gets 5/1/1 red goblins. There's Hunted Troll, which actually the Hunted Troll is pretty dope. I really like that one. And that one got reprinted in Commander 2013 too. That one is an 8/4, without any other abilities except for regenerate, and target opponent gets a 4/1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
there's also a Wumpus, which kind of doesn't fit in this cycle, but it's hunted, and so it got caught by my search. And that one is each other player may put a creature card from his or her hand into play. That's fun.
Yeah, the Wumpus is in a different category because that's
that's
real group huggy right there. Just giving them an Eldrazi.
I'm gonna put that in a different category. Yeah. But anyway.
The Hunted Dragon sees play definitely, mostly because it basically can be 6 to the dome because it has haste, and then you can give the 2/2s to somebody else, and if you have like an Elish Norn out, you basically don't, they get nothing.
Yep.
Very Willy Wonka like. The Lamasu does not see play at all. Hunted Horror does see play.
Yeah.
And I think is a reasonable card in some situations. But it does give them like pro black, so like you can't get rid of the centaurs. So
when I played Hunted Horror, it was mostly in crazy graveyard shenanigans. Specifically, I forgot the general that scavenges. because it was amazing.
Oh yeah.
You know, and that was you were just dumping shit into the yard to scavenge and then put 7 1/1 counters on your general and then smashing in the face. You know,
right?
It was. Oh, and there's a couple other creatures.
They're very
like
good for like the cheap casting cost type things. Like, you know, you can allure it in, and you can obviously with Varol's.
Yes, there we go.
Scavenges for like a ton for no good reason. You know.
Yep. Yeah, and that's really cool. So I like these little these little mini cycles. I kind of like they still do this. They just kind of like pop up with these mini cycles all over the place. Like I really dig that. I like the fact that it's still a thing, even though it probably shouldn't be a thing anymore. But whatever. I
don't think of most of these as group hug. I mean, these are just, I think, well-costed creatures with downside.
I mean, okay. I mean, even though they do give stuff to your opponent.
Yeah, because I don't think it's good enough. I would I would be more likely to put these in there to give something to my opponent so that I can Oath of Druids a lot.
Fair. Well, how about this?
Like Hunted Troll seems great in that scenario where like I'll play a Hunted Troll, I get 1 dude, you have 4 dudes, I'm going to Oath of Druids for the next 4 turns. You know? Yeah.
Fair enough. How about this? What do you think about the next cycle here? The very bad Monger cycle.
Now, until today, I hadn't even thought about these cards in a very long time, so you're going to have to give me a second to...
Okay, I mean, refresh yourself. I know these are on the lips and tongues of everybody out there.
Yeah. So I'm after looking at them, they are very group huggy. Like, I think if you're actually playing a fairly true to group hug deck, these could easily go in there. They're not horribly costed either, meaning they're... What is it?
I mean, they're all 4. I believe. Yeah, they're all 4 mana. They're 3 colorless
4
and then whatever.
3 threes.
Yeah, whatever color they're at. So they're not bad. And I do think that like some are obviously better than others. But like just to give you an example, like there are a few that I play. Like I play Squallmonger. And they all kind of have the same similar abilities, I should say. So they all have an activated ability for 2 colorless mana, and any player can play this ability at any time. Or I should say there are occasionally some timing abilities on it. Like, for instance, the Bad Monger, the Scandal Monger, you can only play it as a sorcery. Everything else you can play as an instant. Squallmonger and Warmonger are pretty much the same in that one deals for 2 mana. Squallmonger deals 1 damage to each creature with flying in each player. Warmonger does the opposite. It's each creature without flying. So, they're like hurricanes and earthquakes, respectively. The one that I think is the most useful for group hug is Wishmonger.
Yeah.
And mostly because it's a unicorn monger. So if you're gonna put together some kind of hideous Cronenberg mishmash of creatures with Feldegriff, fucking go all the way and do a unicorn monger too. And its ability... go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, Sailmonger, I think, falls into that same category. If you're playing group hug and you want people to kind of do your dirty work, they're like, hey, I'll swing at this person, but you gotta give my dude flying. Okay.
That's true too. Yeah, so Sailmonger gives flying for 2, and then Wishmonger gives target creature protection from the color of its controller's choice until end of turn for 2. I tend to think that's a little more group huggy, but you're right. I think both of them have applications, and certainly Squallmonger and Warmonger do too. Because there's almost always like at the end of your turn or right before someone else's turn, or even whenever, like people are going to have an extra 2 mana. You have an untapped Soul Ring. All right, I'm going to turn that into a thing. And I think that's... Yeah,
Warmonger is just good in any kind of, with like Polyraptor around or something. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Wipe that dude's board for me. Don't worry, I'm going to get a ton of dinos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's another card that works in anything that like Pyrrhemia works in.
It's true. And hey, buy them now because they're only 21 cents. Just saying. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think they're going to go up. I mean, they're not very good.
Of course they're going to go up. They're all uncommons from Mercadian Masks.
Right, exactly. I mean, but they have niche uses to them. I think that those 3 though, the America colors are probably the best ones.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I like Squallmonger. I play it in a different deck where I need like more pestilence type effects.
Sure.
But it's an Abzan deck, so I can't go red. But it works. Like, it's fine. That's where I play it, and it works fine. That one actually got a reprint. I think that's the only one that has been reprinted. That one was reprinted in Commander.
Really?
Yeah, for some strange fucking reason. Sure, the monger cycle's coming back.
Yeah, right?
Whatever. I mean, yeah. But, yeah. Like, delving back in the depths, like, I know we probably couldn't pull a show out of this, but, like, strange cards that got reprints for some unknowable reason seems like a good topic. You know what I mean? We're just like, fucking Squallmonger got a reprint? And then you look at, like, Feldegriff's never been reprinted. But anyway. Moving on from the Monger cycle, which is just fun to say. I actually really like this next cycle, and I don't play them nearly enough. I don't think they actually get an awful lot of credit outside of 1 or 2 cards. So,
yeah, I only played the one.
Yeah, right. But there are other ones, like every time I look at like Oath of Ghouls, for instance, I'm like, that's kind of neat. That's chaotic-y. I would play that. So the Oath cycle, all came out of Exodus. Some of them have been reprinted. Oath of Druids is the one that most people know because that was reprinted several times, and it was also just recently reprinted in the K&T deck.
It's also banned in Legacy.
Yeah, yes, for more obvious reasons. Although I will say that, like, you know, like I'll read Oath of Druids and then we can kind of selectively pick whichever ones we want. They all happen, whatever they are, they're all 2-mana enchantments of the color of whatever they are, except for Oath of Scholars, which isn't that good anyway, but, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more creatures than he or she does and is his or her opponent. The first player may reveal cards from the top of his or her library until she reveals a creature card. If he or she does, that player puts that card onto the battlefield and all other cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. Now, if anything, this card makes me want to adopt the new Washington Post standard of just saying them instead of he or she. That's just the thing I think we should get behind. We should all get behind the gender neutral terms for this, and we're fine. Yeah. Because it fucking adds so many extra words to this card.
I mean, I'm a bad writer, so I generally use the gender neutral terms anyway.
It's
because
fine.
I can't stand writing he, she every 5 seconds.
It's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad. I mean, also, we don't have to go, like, full on this, but, like, there are people who are non-binary. So, you know, we just want to be inclusive, man. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely.
This is a group hug episode, and we just want to get everybody in on the hug.
Come on, wizards.
Exactly. What the fuck, wizards?
Get on board, huh?
Yeah. But anyway, so that aside, poor phrasing aside, Oath of Druids is a lot of fun. Like, that's a neat card that can go real wrong real quickly, but it's still a lot of neat. It's still neat.
Or real right real quickly.
That is true, right? I mean, you could do all kinds of crazy things, and I think I think that weird, like, it's almost, you know, it's like the lottery or like pulling the handle on a slot machine, you know? You're just like, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. You can stack it if you want to. You can do all kinds of, you know, people who are better players don't need me to tell them how to play Oath of Druids, but it's fun. So.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones that I like, Oath of Ghouls is neat and, like, never sees play ever.
Yeah, I was just reading that one though, and I see why it doesn't, because theoretically everyone except the one player will get something out of somebody's graveyard.
Yes.
And that's pretty bananagrams.
I mean, but
like,
people
not knowing what you're playing against, and like somebody's like, oh yeah, I guess, I don't know, I got milled and I have a Shieldred in my yard now. Oh really? I have like this other giant thing. I have a Jin-Gitaxias in my graveyard because we're playing Praetors apparently. And then they all resurrect them. Like,
but hey, man,
that seems bad.
You know, like, there are plenty of other cards that do mass resurrection. You know, the key is just have better shit in your yard, you know?
Yeah, but this is for 2 mana.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
I would play this card and lose. So, just fair warning. I would totally play this card and lose. But it is neat if you were playing a Reanimator strategy.
Right.
The other one, I have actually seen Oath of Lieges played pretty frequently. Actually, more than Oath of Druids.
So I was looking at it, it's kind of like a more balanced land tax, I guess is what it's going for. I mean, I feel like Oath of Lieges is definitely the most obviously group huggy one. Like, you're ramping all of your opponents and potentially you're helping everybody like fix.
Yeah. And that's how I've seen it played.
Super great group hug, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think this one, we don't need to read the other two because they're kind of bad, particularly Oath of Mages. But Oath of Lieges is at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more lands than he or she does and is his or her opponent. The first player may search his or her library for a basic land card and put that card on the battlefield, then shuffle his or her library.
Yeah.
The thing I've specifically seen this play, and I knew a guy at my LGS back when my LGS was still open, who used to specifically play this card just to have the feel goods around the table, and he wouldn't necessarily put it. He would just put it in a deck. In most of his decks, it was super cheap at the time. It's only $2 now. But he wouldn't play group hug. He would just do that to make sure everyone could play the game they tried to play. In other words, to mitigate mana screw. And that was really nice. You know, like we all had good games. This isn't overpowered. I think this really does especially because it's basic lands. I mean, it would be fucking bananas if it was any land.
Yeah, but I think you definitely play that one. Of all of them, like that doesn't even take like, you know, Oath of Druids or Oath of Ghouls or any of the other ones. You're kind of like driving towards something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you could with this one too, you know, make sure that you have terrain generator and things like that so that you're, you know, or bounce land so that you have less land so that you can get more, etc. But I think this one is just like a straight out group hug, like fun, you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it's a staple, but like if you were going for like if you were going for adding like maybe a little spice of group hug, you know, like you don't want to go full on, but you want to do a little bit of the feel goods around the table, this would be pretty good. Like you play Oath of Lieges, it's gonna make people think twice about blowing up all your enchantments. So,
yep, I agree.
Yeah. Oath of Mages is fucking garbage. Never played that card.
No, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The Oath of Scholars, you can manipulate that, but yeah, it's not,
Yeah, I mean, that one's is because no one plays Oath of Scholars. It's also more expensive. It's the only 4 mana one.
Right.
And that one is just, you choose target player has more cards in hand than he or she does, and is his or her opponent. And, first player may discard his or her hand and draw 3 cards. So.
Yeah.
That kind of gets around some shitty
Isn't there
things.
a card that during your upkeep you have to exile your hand for your turn, so you would effectively have 0 cards in hand?
Yes.
So you would automatically draw 3 cards, and then you'd bring the rest of you. Like, I mean, it has applications, but it's not.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, but it's not great. I mean,
yeah, you're doing a lot of work for that at that point.
Yeah.
Bottled Cloister. Sorry.
No, go.
No, that's it. Bottled Cloister is the thing. City in a Bottle City in a Bottle is a cool thing from Arabian Nights, which is dope.
Right.
But only applies to Arabian Nights. Bottled Cloister was the other thing. 2 cards that are almost indistinguishable in my mind that I have to read separately every time. But anyway. Next cycle we have the Offering cycle from Commander 2014, which we kind of talked about already. Because we talked about Benevolent Offering, we talked about Sylvan Offering. Yeah, I like Intellectual Offering. I think that one.
Yeah, it has its place. Yeah,
that one is useful in a group hug. I actually play that in just a mono blue sometimes. It's 4 colors and a blue. Choose an opponent. You and that player each draw 3 cards. Choose an opponent. Untap all permanents you control and all non-land permanents that player controls. I've definitely done that at times too. You know, and you can choose different opponents, so they don't need to be the same one. Because it's 2 separate sentences.
The best one is Volcanic Offering.
Yes, because that one is straight upside for you. So that one I almost hesitate to put in a group hug situation. Like I would just put that in a good red deck. You know?
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, it's not the huggiest of them, but it is the best of them.
Yes, 100%. Like Volcanic Offering is the one you get the best upside on, and then Infernal Offering is the worst. So.
Yeah, I didn't hate it that much, but it's not great.
It's not. It's just like you get to draw 2 cards.
I don't think any of these are particularly great.
No. Yeah, like even Intellectual Offering, which I have the most affection for because I love that, I still play that Commander Precon untouched because I just like that deck so much.
I think Benevolent Offering is the one that plays the role of a group hug card the best without actually being group hug.
Interesting. Okay.
So because you choose one opponent who already has some creatures and you give them 3/1/1s.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get 3/1/1s, and then you choose another opponent that has no creatures out and have them gain life.
Okay.
Because they gain 0 life, and you at least gain 6.
Is that better, you think, than Sylvan Offering? Sylvan Offering is just more variable, right? Like you get a big, huge creature, and you get a bunch of little dudes.
Yeah, I mean, Sylvan Offering is just not exciting to me.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't think it's like this whole cycle. I mean, is somewhat group hug, but it's more like targeted hug.
Yeah, You're being very strategic about who you hug. Like, do you
Right,
hug,
like
you want to be nice to the stinky guy, but you don't want to hug the stinky guy.
right, exactly. And
Yeah.
so the offerings are a little bit like, hey, I'll hug you if you kill that guy. It's more of a bribe than anything else.
That is true. Yes, it should be called the bribe. It's not an offering.
Yeah.
Although speaking of offerings, that does make a good segue for our tempting offer cycle, which is the next group huggy one, which I would argue
is easy. You just always say no.
Yes. Yep. 100%. Always say no. Never take the tempting. Like, it's not, like, if you've ever taken it before, you realize you should not do that. Although, I still see Tempt with Discovery around quite a bit.
I still play it because people still say yes.
People say yes to Tempt with Discovery. And it was also in that precon. Holy fuck, it's a $5 card almost.
It was like $20 before they reprinted it.
That's ridiculous. No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know why. I mean, because it's not that good. Like, theoretically, this should be a 4-mana Sylvan Scrying.
Yes.
Which is horrible. However, or no, I guess Sylvan Scrying puts it in hand. And this puts it onto the battlefield, so whatever. However, this plays out a lot of times, and yeah, I have gotten like 4 cards off of this before.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. And it usually comes down to this. Like, you kind of have to pick your time. Like, if you notice one person stumbled on land, you play the hell out of this card. Because that person will say yes, and then it's like a waterfall.
Yes.
Everybody else is like, oh, he's already getting 2 off of it, might as well make it 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Which is just a bad way to think, but it is absolutely how it plays out, 100%.
Very true. Temporary Reflections is just bad.
Yeah, I want it to be good. I mean, I do. I really want it to be good, but it's not.
It was shitty removal, like, back before they changed the clone rule, you know?
Right.
And when blue was even stronger than it was, and that was obnoxious. But now it's...
Immortality has a place. Like, because it's essentially a zombify with potentially more upside for you.
Yeah.
So it's like a one mana more for a zombify, which is a playable card.
Yeah. I'm not excited about it, because I don't play zombify already. Like, there are already just better cards out there.
There are better cards. Yes, absolutely. But, I mean, you can think of Tempt with Immortality as like a budget version of, Exhume, right?
Sure.
Because, I mean, Exhume is essentially doing the same thing. You're hoping to resurrect something that has more value than them.
I guess. I mean, look, if I was going to play a budget version of Exhume, I would just play Stitched Together, which is also in that set.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
For me, there's no use case for it. It's just not, it's not good enough to, like, I would even consider some
Tempt
of the
with Vengeance is playable.
Tempt with Vengeance is playable. Yep. You get some dudes with it. Again, don't take the offer. Like, just don't do it. So.
No. Well, I mean, because theoretically, you're playing against Tempt with Vengeance if they're playing a Purphoros deck.
True.
So, if you take the offer, you die more. I mean, like...
I mean, it is an efficient way to create dudes in red, right?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
It's
fine.
X in red, and you get elemental creature tokens with haste. Like,
with haste, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it is an efficient way to do that. I wouldn't, but, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that kind of wraps up the cycles. So we kind of cycled past the cycles. And now we're just going to go into categories, folks. We're going to start out with giving out resources specifically first. Specifically cards. Because there are a lot of good ones for that.
I like giving out cards.
I don't. It seems bad. I know that much about Magic that you probably shouldn't do that, but I don't know. That's me. So let's talk. I know you're going to talk about Forced Fruition at some point anyway, right? Like that's a thing.
Like Forced Fruition is definitely a huge one. I mean, I feel like Jace Beleren, like there's not a whole lot bad to say there. I believe that I just won a game with that you can probably check out on Commander Cast.
Yeah. Well, just a little side promotion there, or whatever. It's not the way it's spelled here. How the fuck do you spell Mikakoro?
Is it not that?
It's not that, because I just Googled it. I'm like, God damn it, I love that card. It's also super expensive by now.
Maybe it's Mikokoro?
Maybe.
It is.
Yes, Mikokoro, Center of the Sea. Which is really, really good. And also, I don't know when this happened. It was a couple of years ago when, like, everything Kamigawa started going through the roof. But I play Mikokoro in a couple decks. It's, let's see, very simple. Tap, add 1 colorless to your mana pool, or pay 2, tap, each player draws a card.
Yeah. I like these effects, like this effect and Jace's effect and Temple Bell
Yep.
Which will effectively do the same thing. More than I like things like a Font of Mythos or a Howling Mine, because this, in most cases, obviously if you're paying Nekasar, then, let the people draw all they want.
Yeah.
But in most cases, I like these effects more in group hugs because it allows you to control when it's okay for them to draw the card.
Okay, I can see that.
Are you in a stable enough position that you feel that it's an okay time for them to draw? Sure. So I'll allow that to happen. Everybody's happy because they got to draw a card. But I did it at the end of this person's turn, so now I am the first person who really gets to be active with that extra card. Not in the case of Jace, but with Temple Bell and Mikakoro. But yeah, I like being able to control that pace and that tempo, rather than just everybody draws extra cards every turn.
All right. Let me present a rebuttal to that in the form of Well of Knowledge, which I actually really like.
Good.
Yeah, I like Well of Knowledge quite a bit, and I play it in mono white decks specifically for obvious reasons. But Well of Knowledge is a sweet spot between being pretty cheap and also specific enough that it's not super obnoxious. Again, this can't happen all the time. Well of Knowledge is a 3-mana artifact. Just fucking read the card, Mark. Its activated ability is pay 2, draw a card. Any player may activate this ability, but only during his or her draw step.
Which is super weird.
It is super weird. It's a bizarre, weird fucking card out of Weatherlight. Still cheap enough. It's a $3 card. So it's not going to break the bank, and it's not going to break your mana bank either. To play it in there, but it is neat, and it just helps you top off. You're going to have extra mana anyway. And it's tough to call that out, especially in white. But I feel in white that most of the card draw you get in white is just land anyway. You might be playing Oath of Lieges, you might be playing land tax, other things that'll get you basic lands. You're probably going to have the extra mana, and you need the extra card. And this is something that's not going to get blown up. Unless it's a mass
it's definitely not going to get blown up. I think the problem that you run into is, I would actually see playing this more in a green deck.
Interesting. Because you just have the extra mana?
Yeah, because you should be ramping harder than everybody else. So if you have, during your draw step, 6 mana to pour into this, you can draw 3 cards.
I like that.
When you take a turn off, as opposed to somebody else still being at 2 or 3 and they're still trying to lay down their things.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn off benefits you a lot more. That said, it's not great card draw in green because green has harmonized.
Green has other things to do.
Right.
I do like it. It's just, Andy, once upon a time, always instilled this in my brain because he would always say, hey, having something to do with your mana, it's not necessarily the person who has the most resources, it's the person who utilizes them best, who often wins.
Yeah.
And having an out, that's why I like Ant Queen so much because it's just 1 mana. I always have at least 1 mana sitting around before my next turn. I'll just make some dudes. I can't do this anytime, but I'm sorry, I talked over you.
No, I said, isn't it 2 mana?
This is 2 mana, but not Ant Queen.
No, I thought Ant was 1 and a green.
I thought it was just 1.
If it's just 1, that's...
Oh, no, it's 1 and a green. My bad.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say,
my bad.
I know Ant Queen's real good, but that's real good.
Yeah, alright, my bad. I was kind of chopping off an entire I was dividing it in half, but whatever.
No, Ant Queen is very good for that reason. Yeah, being able to... Having a mana sink is very good.
Yeah.
Having a mana sink during your draw step doesn't feel really good.
Yes.
You're hoping to draw into action, and so if you're hoping to draw into action, then you need mana to use that action.
It's true. Yeah.
A little bit weaker, but it's an interesting card.
Yeah. How about this? The last one, Walking Archive.
I like this card whether it's good or not. I think because I like the art. It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah.
A bundle of scrolls in the shape of a human.
Yeah, it's a scroll golem. It's so fucking good. Walking Archive is a 3 mana, 3 colorless mana, 1/1. It just pisses me off because the activated ability can only be played in Azorius. So I don't like that so much. Anyway, it's got Defender. Walking Archive comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player draws a card for each +1/+1 counter on a Walking Archive, and then you can pay 2 colorless and 1 blue and 1 white to put a +1/+1 counter on Walking Archive.
Yeah, 90% of the time, too slow to actually do anything.
Yeah.
Like maybe Howling Mine at best kind of thing. I really like the idea and the design. Nobody's ever going to kill it, generally speaking, because you're going to get it up to a 2-2 or a 3-3 maybe.
And it's got Defender anyway. You're not fucking doing anything with it. So
right. You've got like a Cathar's Crusade or something like that alongside this. It can get there. An interesting group hug card. I think it's inappropriate to group hug card.
Sure, I think it's weird because it straddles the line between a pillow fort and a group hug. Like this goes into Guafa Hazid.
It's right in there, absolutely.
Yeah, this is a Guafa Hazid card, and I don't know what else it goes in.
Yeah,
I mean, I suppose if you're playing Ith High Arcanist and you need other cards, but then again, just don't play Ith High Arcanist. So we'll be all right.
That's true.
Yeah. So that kind of covers most of the cards ones. Let's go into mana because I think this is probably the largest selection or the largest category.
Yeah. I would like to start off with one of my favorites that I do absolutely play, and I don't think enough people play it, which is Benthic Explorers.
Well, you're right about the first half of that sentence. Yes.
That nobody plays it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 2/4 for 4 Merfolk. Obviously does best in a Merfolk deck.
Yeah. The art is amazing. So it was
the art is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, actually both arts are really good. This is back when they used to do alternate ones, but and they're both by Greg Simonson. But man,
yeah, I like number 36 better, but yes, they are both very nice.
Yeah.
So it has an ability: untap target tapped land an opponent controls to add 1 mana of any type that land produces to your mana pool. So it's somewhere between like Fell War Stone and like ramping your opponent to a certain extent. Obviously using this on your turn shouldn't impact things that much. It's like, oh, on my turn, you, instead of being completely tapped out, have 1 mana untapped. And I get to ramp in blue.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is uncommon. Being able to have a mana dork in blue, there are a few of them, but there aren't a lot of them. This is a perfect one for group hug though. Because you could even, if you don't need to ramp, you could just untap their Maze of Ith so they don't die and help them out.
Yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Like, I like that idea of like.
It's really good design space. I mean, I think that if blue was to ever get more ramp, this seems like a good space for it to be in. Because blue should be bad at ramp, which it is currently.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to give it ramp, give it a bad version of it.
Or like a kind of, like a funky, weird version of it,
Right.
Like, I like that, because you don't get something for nothing if you're doing it out of your color,
Right,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, it has like this cool effect where you can kind of do it, like say you need to untap someone else's Maze of Ith so they could, stop something else coming your way, or, you can it can pay dividends politically. And it's a very cool card.
It also allows you to activate, abilities of things that you steal from them.
True. Yep.
Because you're making their colors of mana.
And thanks to the
usually relevant, but
well, I mean, it could be now that they changed the rule for that, right? Like back a few years ago, you could not use other mana that was, now you can. So it was outside your commander's color.
I would say, I would say if you're playing a fish deck, this, why not?
I did consider this for my fish deck. I ultimately did not go that way, but it was neat. So
yeah.
I think it got the bump once Kethnet's Monument came out because I just like things that make things cost less. So.
Yeah.
But whatever. Still really cool though. Let me see. So I lose to this fucking card so often. And it's actually getting rather expensive now too. But Dream Halls, goddamn, I love me some Dream Halls. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, you just can't. Don't do what I do, people. This is just a misplay because Mark's a fucking idiot. Dream Halls is just a card you play when you're ready to win. Like that's what you do. That's not what I do because I'm bad. But if you're a good player, you plunk this down, then you never pay for another card ever. And if you're really doing it well, you've got some commander. You've already got a grip of huge cards, and, a spell tome, so you don't fucking, you have no maximum hand size, and you're going to town with it, So Dream Halls is 3 colorless and 2 blue, and it's very simple. It's an enchantment. Rather than pay the mana cost for a spell, its controller may discard a card that shares a color with that spell. So make sure everyone else doesn't have a counterspell for the shit you're about to put out. and go to town. And it's real fun until it's not, and then you lose. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would ever put Dream Halls in Group Hug.
But you don't want a little chaos going around, you know?
Well, I mean, maybe if you were doing Group Hug and you were using Corona, because it's great in 5-color decks.
Yes, it's amazing in 5-color. Yep.
But generally, like, Dream Halls is in a deck that's built around Dream Halls.
Yes. I mean, oh god. Not that I'm any good at this. The legendary Gorgon that came out of Commander, 3-color.
Legendary Gorgon Damia?
Yes, Damia. Which interestingly enough does not come up when I put in Gorgon. Oh, it's because I just queried the name. Anyway, yeah, Damia Sage of Stone is definitely the one that goes best, I think, with Dream Halls, because you're getting a fresh grip of cards. You're in the 3 strongest colors in Magic. You know. Discard, draw. Yeah,
yeah,
you're doing pretty well. That's an amazing use case. But again, Damia, not such a group huggy kind of.
No, a little bit more on the competitive side.
A little bit, but anyway. What's your next one?
So my next one is one that I don't play enough. I don't think anybody plays enough, but I do like it a lot, which is Zerta Ancient.
Yes.
For 3, a red and a green, you have a 7/5 beast. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana to his or her mana pool of any type that land can produce. Any type that land produced. So it has to be, if you have a dual land, you can't tap it for both colors. You gotta tap it for double of whatever color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheap. It's essentially Mana Flare. Mana Flare doesn't really see that much play anymore because this used to have a downside to it, and it doesn't anymore.
Yeah.
Since there's no mana burn, this is really just Group Hug. So, I mean, this fits very well into a Group Hug deck where your end game is something like play Mana Flare, play Zertai Ancient, Comet Storm.
Yeah.
And kill people.
Yeah.
Kind of situation where you're like, I'm good. You guys just build up your board, do whatever it is you want to do, crash at people. I'll pay 1 to fog it, and then I'm just gonna fireball you.
Yeah, that's a pretty good strategy.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting card. Great stats, obviously, for 5 mana.
Mm-hmm.
You do want to play it a little. The problem that a lot of people have with playing these cards is they play them on curve, which is not correct. You don't want to play this when you hit 5 mana. You want to play this when you hit like 7 or 8 mana.
Yeah.
So that you can actually get some benefit off of it instead of just handing it over to your opponents.
I mean, you also have to be mindful of like what your opponents are playing too. Like,
well, sure, yeah.
Again, like don't play this. Beware of mana doublers if you're playing against an aggro deck. Or a controller, or like any kind of deck, really. Like, I mean, I love Zertai Ancient too. Like, I play him sometimes just in goofy, stupid decks, where I maybe don't want overabundance for whatever reason.
Right.
But yeah, like it's kind of, I don't know. It's hard for me to not like this giant hulking thing that has a city on its back. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool looking. It's a great big splashy design. It's a great like budget, bulk rare.
Yeah.
Super fun to play with. Fits perfectly into Group Hug.
Yep.
I suggest you use it. World.
Yeah.
I'm talking to you. World.
Yeah. What are you doing? Why haven't you gone up and bought it yet? Jesus.
Yeah. So what do you have, Mark?
So my next 2 cards are, I kind of want to build like a mono red Group Hug deck. Or maybe like a mono red enchantment.
I don't even know what that means right now.
I don't know either, but I like those words and how they went together in a sentence. Because I like these next 2 cards that I'm going to talk about. So Mana Cash is kind of bad and awesome at the same time, which is the best kind of Commander Cast card. It's 1 colorless and 2 reds, an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's end step, put a charge counter on Mana Cash for each untapped land that player controls. And then remove a charge counter from Mana Cash, add 1 colorless to your mana pool. Any player may activate this ability, but only during his or her turn before the end step.
Oh god, that seems real bad.
Like, it's just, I know it would not go right for me in any way, shape, or form.
No, god no.
But I really want to play this card.
The only way I would play this, and this is the dumbest use case for this card, but the only way I would play this is if I already had a Vidalcan Ori out, and it was literally the end of the person's turn right before me, and they were about to pass the turn. No, because then they're just going to tap all their mana. There's no case for this card.
Come on, I would put it in a dumb group hug deck. I would do that. I would not win that game, but it would be fun.
No.
I would like to see... Now, the reason why I would like to see this is to see what other players would do with this, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it would be dumb, and I would still really like it. So, yeah. The other one that I'll just quickly go through is Wild Evocation, which is better, I think. Wild Evocation is 5 colorless and a red. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player reveals a card at random from his or her hand. If it's a land card, that player puts it on the battlefield. Otherwise, that player casts it without paying its mana cost, if able. So
yeah, I mean this is definitely group hug, a little bit of chaos kind of thing. You know, I mean,
yeah. And it does like straddle that line. Like a lot of the group hug cards we talk about, especially the niche ones that like don't get brought up all the time. You know, like they kind of straddle one way or the other. But this one is kind of cool and never gets played. Like even in the chaos decks, I never see this played, and I'm kind of wondering why now because it's a neat little extra thing. But
I mean, to be honest, you could even play this not in a positive manner, meaning like you could play this in like a Rakdos discard deck.
Yeah.
So they don't have anything in their hand during their upkeep, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
you could donate you could donate that bottled cloister.
That's right.
You know, and then go to town. I mean, that's whatever. I'm sure I'm probably not getting the timing right on that, but it would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that this is a neat card. And yes, if you're a little bit more toward the chaos build, this could be a really fun add to a group hug deck. Cause it does. I mean, it potentially ramps them. It allows them to cast spells for free, but it's got some randomness to it. So you may or may not come out on top.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
What's your next card in this category, Adam?
Oh, in this next category, let's talk about it. Cause I hate this card. I've grown to hate this card. I thought it was good at first.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, I don't really understand why you're not down on this thing, but yeah, go for it.
So, Girapur Ori, 4 mana for an artifact that says each player may play an additional land on each of his or her turns. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, that player draws 3 cards. All right, here's my problem with it.
Okay.
I have never gotten the last ability to trigger for me. But I have gotten it to trigger for everyone else.
But you're trying to hug a group, Adam. So it's not about you.
Right.
It's not about you.
I'm in the middle of the hug.
I mean, yes.
I'm being hugged by everyone.
That sounds sweaty. So,
yeah, and kind of bad. That's what this card is.
All right. I do like that each player may play an additional land on his or her turns.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that part of it.
That part's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
That part's kind of neat. I do... I mean, maybe it's because I've only seen this played like once, maybe twice in a game. And the last part honestly never really happened because everyone had more than 3 cards. Or actually everyone had some cards in their hand, you know? Like the use case for dumping your hand and getting 3 cards is, I think, very deck specific. I can see it. You know, again, like Bottle Cloister, etc. Like, sure, I could see that. I mean, whatever, the games I've seen it, no one did it, so it wasn't a big deal. It's just everyone got to play an additional land, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think in every case, I'd rather just have Rites of Flourishing out.
I would say...
And it costs less.
Yes, it costs less, but it only goes in green decks. You know, or decks with green in them.
I mean, how many group hug generals did we have so far that were not green?
Yeah, fair. But I'm saying, like, this could go in a deck. Like, I would not necessarily play this just for group hug stuff. I would play this because I need to play an additional land. You know?
Oh, God, no. Don't do that. No, it's not good enough for that. No.
I mean...
This costs 4 mana.
Yeah. I didn't say it was good. I just said, like...
Terrain generator costs 3, and it only affects you. Just do that.
I would play this. I'm not saying it's good, but I haven't seen the bad... I mean, I haven't seen the downside of it. I can see intellectually the downside of it.
Though. Did you read the card?
Yes, I read the card. I know. I know there's... Yeah. I think it's fine.
The downside is right on there where each player...
I think it's fine.
And then the second ability, it's real bad.
I think it's fine.
I tried for a while because my thinking was exactly where yours was. Because I was like, oh, okay, so like, let's say I'm in white or red or something that doesn't ramp very easily.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be able to drop extra lands and like, I'm not too worried because I have enough control so that I can mitigate whatever it is that they play. You know, and then also white and red don't have a whole lot of card draw. So I was like, all right, well, the second ability, if it triggers, you know, it just ended up that like they were ramping off of it more. They were drawing off of it more. It cost 4 mana, so it was hitting at the very wrong part of where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Late game, it's just a dead draw. It just felt like it never hit at the right time that I actually wanted to be doing this.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I mean, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I get jaded, or I get like turned off by cards real quick. Like when they like slight me a few times, I'm like, no, I hate you.
Yeah, cards and people happens. Yeah, it only takes once, and then I just write you out of my life. Yeah,
I mean, fair enough.
I
am on notice. Got
it. Next one. I really like this card. I know it's bad. I probably shouldn't play it, but Upwelling. And I didn't realize this came out in Scourge originally, but I mean, it's some of my favorite art too, which also helps. Upwelling is really simple. 3 colors on the green, enchantment, mana pools don't empty at the end of phases or turns.
Yep.
It's a rather rare ability. It just happens to be a universal ability, and I think it's really cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, I really like it also. Like, it's a beautiful piece of art. It's an interesting design for a card. There are very few things that do it. Even for one player, let alone all players. I think this is the only one that does all players. I was looking at it and I was struggling to find a use case for this other than strictly just being generous. Meaning, like, so I put this in a deck, but theoretically the deck that I want to put this in is like Crewfix or Omnath anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's what went in mine. Yeah.
Right, but then it just benefits everyone else.
Yeah, I think that the real use case, like I had this, I played this before in like a mono green Snakes deck and like other just mono green decks where I'm just ramping harder. Like, and then the ability there is I'm just making more mana, and then it's like compound interest. You know what I mean? Like it just keeps accelerating over time, and then now I just have redonkulous amounts of mana, and like I don't know, hit everybody for whatever I'm gonna hit them with. Like that's the benefit of having that in green. Like this wouldn't work if it was in another color, you know, because you couldn't ramp hard enough to outpace the rest of your opponents. But then again, if you're playing against another mono green player, like fucking, then it's a ramp race. I don't know. It's neat.
I mean, I guess like Helix Pinnacle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a thing. You know, I was thinking more like if you want to get stupid amounts of mana, this and doubling cube, and you know other stupid things you could do. When I played this in Omnath, it was really, because Omnath does essentially the same thing. Not even essentially, it does the same thing, but one-sided. So I would play this when Omnath got too expensive. And like, because most people are not going to let Omnath stay on the board because they enjoy not losing. And Upwelling is a thing where like, well, why would I kill that? You know? Right. So, that's a thing.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But, whatever. Anything else we want to talk about in this? Some of these are known quantities.
I mean, there's a lot of, like, pretty staple ones in here that have been printed in a lot of the Commander, you know. Yeah,
like, we don't need to say what Rites of Flourishing does. Like, we don't really need Veteran Explorer explored anymore. I don't know.
Right.
How about, before we move on, what's your feeling about the Great Aurora?
I thought that it was interesting that you put it on there, because, first of all, I love the card.
Yeah.
And I think in Group Hug, with a slight chaos tinge, super appropriate to put it in there. I have played Great Aurora and gotten just like the most insane like upside to it. And I have played Great Aurora and gotten just like, oh, I only got 3 lands back.
Yep.
Out of 20 permanents.
Yep.
That's bad.
That's my experience with the Great Aurora. I always, like, you know, random number Jesus just fucks me hard on this all the time.
I mean, you know what? Like, if I die to my own Great Aurora, like, if that happened, like, I don't feel too bad. Like, I played this great big spell. I was really, like, I could have easily gone off if it went in my direction, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like the card. It's fun at the very least.
It is definitely neat. Yeah. There's some other ones that I didn't put on this list that are just like universal cost reducers, like Helm of Awakening, you know, like that kind of thing, which I do play, which just kind of like speed up the game. I'm not quite sure if that goes into resource. That's like saving your opponent resources, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as ramping them effectively.
Yeah, you know, it's a thing, but I think we've kind of tapped this category out. So let's move on to the next one, like giving your friends dudes.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're not your friends.
These I play a lot.
All right, I have to say, I mean, you're gonna have to tell me what show and tell because I've always wanted to buy that and I never have.
I love show. It's not that much right now. It's as cheap as it's gonna get. It's like $14.
That is true. Like I should just go and buy show and tell.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did when it got reprinted and it got down to like, oh no, I cracked this. This was actually what I cracked in my conspiracy take the crown.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was a nice grab. Show and tell for 2 and a blue. Each player puts an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land from his or her hand onto the battlefield. The idea here is that you have something better in your hand than everybody else.
Yeah.
You either take a look at their hands with something like telepathy, and know that you have the best thing in your hand, or you gamble on it. And you gamble on it based on, some intelligent thinking, I play 6 Eldrazi in my deck, and most people don't. So I'm going to throw this out there, and hopefully I only see one other person's, and I play, and I get an extra one out, and then during my next turn I just play another one out. It's a really interesting card. I mean, also notably it plays Omniscience for free for 3 mana.
That's not bad. That's
Omnitel is a deck, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to play this deck. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, obviously, like, I played the Blue Braids deck, but at the time, Show and Tell was ridiculous expensive, so I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, it was probably $50 or something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I definitely really dig it. Like, there are obvious ways to get huge advantage off of this one, so you don't really need us to tell you, but good card. I like the new art. I like the old art, too. That's the only Jeff Laubenstein old art that I like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
But it does have the lip thing going.
It does have the lip thing going on. I mean, you weren't on that episode, but like I would always say before, like, what fucking human being has lips like that? And then I watched the Punisher.
No, I listened to it.
Yeah, and it's totally true. Just like
I never thought about it before, and then I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah, I guess they all do look like.
Yeah, they really do. They really fucking do. And I like that actor too, and I hadn't made that connection until the art. I was watching the Punisher at the same time we were doing that episode, and I'm like, oh fuck.
No, that's funny.
Oh fuck. Which is great. Anyway, moving on. A card that I full on. I like to say that I'm honest with myself, Adam, and I don't have the cojones to play this card. I want to play this card. I own a copy of this card. I do not have the balls to put it in the deck.
I'm pretty sure I play it.
Tempting Worm is a 1 and a green for a 5/5. But that's not the problem, obviously. Tempting Worm, it really should not be called Tempting Worm because there's no tempt. Like, there's no temptation there. What I think I like the German word for, like the German version is Lockender Worm, because this will totally end a board state. Like, it'll totally unlock a board state, and you're not going to get the good side of it. But whenever Tempting Worm enters the battlefield, each opponent may put any number of artifact, creature, enchantment, and or land cards from his or her hand onto the battlefield. So they just fart permanents out to the battlefield. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Everything. Fucking everything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I play it. It usually is fine, honestly.
Really? Okay. I mean, that helps. Like, I don't. Okay, tell me what happens when you usually play it, because all I think of is hideous things for me. Like, I get a 5/5 vanilla guy, and they get everything.
Yeah, and then you steal them.
Yeah. Okay. So, like, is this like?
Because they're gonna put out their best thing. So it's the same thing with like show and tell. You just like you follow it up with a blatant thievery or something.
Okay. I can see that. Like, do that, like, Tempting Worm, Insurrection, win? Is that the
exactly.
Play? Okay. I like that. That makes me feel better. So.
Yeah, I mean, you don't play, you definitely don't play this with just, like, the idea of getting a value out of the creature itself.
You mean that's not how you win?
Not in this case.
No? Okay. I like it, though. I also, random, but as long as, I mean, this is the place we talk about art, I really like that style of worm. Like, that makes sense. Like, old art, like, that's not how worms look. Like, worms don't have, like, 4 teeth that kind of come together in a weird, like, I don't even know what you would call that, like a mouth sphincter? Something? What's going on? I don't know what that is, but I really like that style of art. So.
Yeah. It's very Tremors.
Yeah, it does have a Tremors thing, but they also have, like, the cute little eyes on the side, too. It's like if you took...
I mean, it's better than what Ravnica did with the worms.
Yeah, I'm not down with penis worms, so...
Yeah.
I'm not down with that, so...
Yeah, no combination of those words is okay.
No, it really isn't. So, and with that, I think we should probably move on. So, yeah. What's your next one?
I'm going to talk about Aloran.
Yeah.
So Aloran is just on the surface a good card. It's 2 2 and 2 green for an enchantment that says any player may play creature cards with converted mana cost 3 or less without paying their mana cost, and as though they had flash. So the thing that I really like about this is, I mean, you could play it for surface value, like, hey, you know, we're playing group hug here. Maybe you're playing Edric, right? Edric is going to have a lot of small dudes. You probably get a little bit more value off of this than other people. They'll maybe get like a Wood Elves out for free or something like that. Great.
Sure.
People see this and they're like, oh, I get value off of that too? That's great. So it usually doesn't get countered, which is a great start.
Yep.
As soon as it doesn't get countered, that means it's usable. And unless the next thing that comes out of somebody's hand is Croson Grip, there's a solid chance you won the game.
True.
Especially if somebody was dumb enough to leave you with a Cloudstone Curio out.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't sound good for everyone else at the table.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen at that point. But yeah, I mean, I think that this is great. I think that it's something that you could kind of pass off in group hug. Like if your Edric is built to feel a little bit more group hug, but it also has a little bit of the Elf Ball synergy to it, Aloran is a great add.
You know, as long as we're talking about this, I might as well skip over to another one of my cards, which is similar. I think of them in the same in the same breath. So Vernal Equinox is 3 colors and a green. Any player may cast creature and enchantment spells as though they had flash.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. So like that one, like what do you think the different use cases are for that? Like, would you play one or the other? Aloran is definitely more popular than Vernal Equinox.
I think Aloran, because you get to avoid the casting cost, is easier to build your deck around.
Okay. Yeah.
Meaning, like, you could build it to exploit Aloran a lot better. This one is a lot more group hug because it just changes the dynamic for how everybody plays the game.
Mm-hmm. What are you talking about, Aloran or Vernal Equinox? Which one?
Oh.
Which one do you think changes the
Vernal
dynamic?
Equinox.
Yeah.
Vernal Equinox does. Because everybody is able to play everything. They just have to have the mana for it.
Mm-hmm.
Aloran changes it more for just people who are in a weenie strategy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Elf Ball is the thing that you're... one on its surface would be the best. I'm sure that's what it was originally, printed for. I'm sure it is horribly broken with all kinds of shit. So
Vernal Equinox, I completely forgot existed, honestly, and I mean that's pretty good. Like, if you don't have, Vidalcan Ori has gotten super expensive these days.
Yeah, and this is a really good budget Vidalcan Ori, as long as you don't mind the downside that everybody gets.
Everybody else gets. Yeah, but that's. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Vernal Equinox, I think, is definitely an unsung hero of group hug, because you think of the standard strategies, right, of like giving people dudes or mana flares or rites of flourishing, but like changing the timing is you're leveling at the timing for everybody, so it's kind of cool.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I mean honestly, I could even seeing play in like a Karametra, like Enchantress type deck.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess I don't know why I didn't think about that. Those cards, like, the words are printed on the card, but you only ever see half of it. Like, I only ever see the cast creatures as though they had flash.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
The enchantment spells, I'm just like, I'm such a fucking Timmy. I'm like, oh, enchantments? Oh yeah, those things too. Those are cards.
Yeah.
I don't understand permanents that don't have power and toughness. So, that's just me. What do you have for your next one, Adam?
So my next one is probably my last one from this category. I am going to talk about Gate to the Ether. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land card, the player puts it into play. So this is, again, kind of like a chaosy version of, it's similar to the Wild Evocation, right?
Yeah, it's very similar. In fact, this one, I think, gets more things than Wild Evocation.
It does, but there's still that randomness to it.
Yes.
Like that one, it's a random card from hand. This one's a random card from your deck, essentially, because it's just whatever your top card is.
Mm-hmm.
You can obviously manipulate this to a certain extent, but this is, again, a group hug / a little bit more chaosy type card. Again, cheap piece. That's the other thing. Like, if you like the idea of playing group hug, these decks do not cost much money. There's pieces like show and tell and stuff like that, but you don't have to put those in there. There's a lot of 50-cent cards in here.
Yes. Yeah, that is true. Like, putting that together, especially if you just want to experience the format or get a feel for multiplayer. Like, if you were just coming from, like, I don't know. If you were just rocking out a standard, and not because you're not good enough, just because you're tired of the grind and tired of everything else, like a real cheap, like budget group hug would probably be a good way to kind of get into this format.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm such a fucking pedant recently, but I hate that it's called an ash when you put A and E together, and I hate that. I just don't. I thought
it was cool. I thought that it was said in the same way that you're supposed to say the A and E, which is aish.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I say ash because I can't, like, aish just sounds weird. Aish just sounds
like it's supposed to be aether.
Yeah. I mean, hey, whatever. I think maybe ash is one of those, like, tomato. Whatever.
I mean, you might be right.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it was the guy from Evil Dead.
Aish. Aish. I don't know, man. I just don't, yeah. I can't. Like, I get it. I don't have anything against other languages. I just don't like this, and this combination happens so frequently, and it's only because I have a fucking website dedicated to this that it comes up, and it's a pain in the fucking ass to code right. Like, putting that aish on that side to get this card to come up is just annoying, and no one gives a shit in the audience. I just want to say this to say it, and now I'm going to move on.
Look, we feel you.
I'm just going to
we appreciate you.
I don't know. I'd rather it have a fucking umlaut, you know? I'd rather have fucking anything. Like a little tilde, something. I don't get just a fucking aish. Aish. Fuck you, card. Anyway.
What is your next one?
My last one is, appropriately enough, Endbringer's Revel, and that will bring an end to our technology segment. So, like how I did that? Anyway.
That was sweet.
Endbringer's Revel is a bad card, but I think it does have some use here. It's 2 colorless and a black. It's enchantment. It's one of the few black group hug cards, and its ability is similar to some of the Monger effects. It's 4 colorless, and then return target creature card from a graveyard to its owner's hand. Any player may activate this ability, but only anytime he or she could cast a sorcery. So they want to give it to you, but not just any time.
That's a really, really, really expensive ability.
Yeah, it is. Yep. 4 colorless. Yep. But again,
for a raised dead.
Yeah, 4 colors for raised dead. Yep. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. But it's any time, man.
Yeah.
This falls under the category of like cards I want to see other people play more.
Fair enough.
You know? Yeah. But yeah, so this is the thing. Again, I feel like I'm just notching the bar lower and lower and lower, right? Like, if you're playing group hug and you have a lot of mana, and you're playing black for some reason, and like, there's a lot of like parentheticals that you have to add on to the sentence in order to make this work. But it's also a rare example of this thing. So, I'm just gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, so. I don't really, I ran out of things to say on this card.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I suppose we should say that there are other things that we put down in this technology segment. There's some one-offs I put down at the end, which probably aren't worth talking about.
I like Ice Cave. I like Land's Edge. Those are both cute cards.
They are. Like, I like Crescendo of War an awful lot, which is goofy and weird. There's a lot of other ones, like, we already talked about Maze of Ith. Brawl and Shoving Match are kind of fun.
Right.
Like, that's just kind of neat. But yeah, I don't think we really need to talk about them. So, I might go buy a copy of Land's Edge because I'm afraid it's just going to jump to redonkulous proportions.
I think that it was reprinted in Chronicles, so I think you're okay.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm fine. I can buy the 40-cent version. Sweet. Yeah, because
the Legends one might be expensive. Yeah, it's almost $17 from Legends.
Yeah, I mean everything from Legends is just going to get priced out. I don't know why.
Yes, it's getting close. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know, this is so hyperbolic, but I feel like my childhood's getting priced out. Like,
wow.
It's going away, man.
You're not wrong.
I shouldn't have this much affection for Legends, because lots of Legends was not good, but some of Legends was amazing, so.
Yes, some of Legends was super amazing.
Yeah, so, anyway. And then don't look at the art too much, because I think his nipples are kind of off. But,
I mean, it's Legends. You definitely don't look at the art too much.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but hey, whatever. So that will do it for our technology and group huggy segment. So we talked about tech. We went down a lot of punk stuff. We managed to not talk about Feldegriff that much. Feldegriff, I feel, is I feel like this is the most hipster thing to say, but I think you should probably play something besides Speltogriff if you're doing group hug. Yeah, and there's that too. So. You're a bad person, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm going to castigate Adam, and then we're going to talk about nothing in the interstitial, and then we're going to do the outro. So.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, folks. So stick with us for like 2 seconds. Man, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're a bad person. So, and the audience won't know, and then we're fine. So,
yep.
Outro. And that's it. Fuck it. I'm done hugging people, Adam. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the outro this week.
Like
no more.
We had a lot of hate on group hug, but yeah. I mean, look, I honestly do think that group hug is a super fun way to play. You should at least try it if you're, not a very, spike-ish want-to-win kind of person. If you're okay with just having an experience and enjoying that, I think group hug is great. You should try it out.
Yeah, it'd be fun. And I will probably end up building a group hug deck and then seeing how it goes. Maybe I will report back about how many times I lost with blue braids. So
yeah, we should talk about what games we actually play every now and then.
Being like hosts of a podcast that talks about Magic, yeah it's probably a thing we should probably do. Crazy idea. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I don't know. Wow, that's weird. Whoever thought? But anyway, before we get there, folks, if you guys have thoughts about group hug, or if you want to share some group hug strategies for us, tell Adam how awesome Gearport Ori is, whatever, off the top of your head. Hit us up at CommanderCast, CommanderCast@gmail.com, or on Twitter at CommanderCast. Adam, if they want to talk to you and tell you how wrong you are about Endbringer's Revel and how it brought an end to everyone but them at their table, that probably didn't happen, but if they want to reach out to you.
You can definitely hit me up on Twitter at Squire9999 or at the Trinisphere.
Yeah, and you guys have been ramping up some Trinisphere content recently.
Yeah, we've started to make the schedule more like every other week is a gameplay video and every other week is a podcast. And some of us have started streaming also on Twitch and YouTube. So yeah, we're trying to do a little bit more. Actually, it's mostly my castmates. I don't have that much bandwidth. They're doing a great job though.
Very cool. Very cool. I like more Trinisphere is good Trinisphere. So I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah. And be sure to check out our CommanderCast Facebook page, folks, even though I increasingly think that Facebook is a scourge upon this world and this universe. And a big thanks to everyone at CommanderCast. So we'll see you guys next week with more community strategy and technology. So until then, let's hug it!